It's September 20th, 2023. Grab a Grand Slam and come with me. It is time to get in the weeds, as always. I'm at Joel Pearl, and of course, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be doing this with anybody else other than SP3, but instead I have Jeremy Lambert. Hi, how you doing, Jeremy?
I like what SP. Was that?
I like SP. Oh, you see, I'm paying homage to Becky Lynch, who last night on NXT decided to do her own version of a rhyme scheme promo to open NXT. So I did one that was of equal or lesser value.
That's literally how I open every episode of FMC. So all of you are just copying me.
Do you want to do this whole episode trying to rhyme? No, not starting this gimmick. Take that smile off your face. Not doing it, not trying it. Stay away from it.
Joel, I'm pretty sure I could do that. That would be a fact.
I'm already regretting everything about what I've said today.
Joel, I have a big surprise for you. Is everyone ready to increase the views?
Slant rhyme. Nice try.
I come from the school of rhyme of Eminem, who is not feminine.
Nope.
Study the dictionary. It's honestly quite scary.
No sousing.
I do have a big surprise for everybody, all of the viewers, though. It is a gift that was given to me for my birthday from the GOAT, not Bryan Danielson, another GOAT. If you know, I don't want to blow up the spot in case he doesn't want the credit. But this was a gift. I'm currently wearing it. It looks like a Bryan Danielson tribute shirt. It is not. Joel Pearl, this is a 1 of 1 t-shirt that I'm wearing right now. All right, you ready? Are you ready for this big reveal?
Yeah, let's see it.
Here we go. Look at this. Look at this, Joel.
God.
Look at this shirt.
Look at that. Look at that. Your very own In the Weeds t-shirt.
Yeah.
1 of 1. That's fantastic. I am in love with that design. Thank you. It's not going to be the new logo, but it's certainly on top of my my love list here.
It was a gift from the GOAT. I got this yesterday, and I told him I would be wearing it today. So shout out to that person. Again, if you know, he doesn't like getting credit. I try to give him credit all the time. I try to put him over all the time. And then he messages me. He's like, don't do that.
Put him over.
He puts me over all the time. And I message him and I say, don't do that.
So put him over. The worst, best tag team out there. Just put it. I got a DM about this once, about the exchange you two had and the way that I explained it. So you go ahead, put him over. Come on.
Well, I am. I'm putting him over. I won't outright say his birthright name. So is what we'll say there. So yeah, shout out to that person, the GOAT, in my opinion. So I appreciate him. He sent me a Jimmy King t-shirt last year. So he's very good with the t-shirts. Very good.
Yeah, that's true. T-shirt game on high, man. I call you to wholesome discomfort.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Ryan, watch the product. Everybody who watches the product knows who I'm talking about. Yeah. If you don't watch the product, I can't help you.
Listen. All you got to know is you went to the UK recently.
Should we do? You see these Taylor Swift puzzles? There's like 33 million of these puzzles that you can do.
I've never seen these. Are these like Wordles, but like with
Taylor? Oh, they just came out. Because there's the new, newish old. There's 1989 Taylor's version coming soon, and so there's like 33 million of these puzzles. Should the UFC 5 watch along did huge numbers for us.
Yeah, let me tell
you. Monday.
Yeah,
Joel.
Yeah, people really tuned in for that.
Yeah, should we do some Taylor Swift puzzles?
Nope.
In the first 15 minutes. of the show.
How about instead I tell you to go ahead and leave a thumbs up on the video and subscribe to us here at Fightful Overbooked. And if you're feeling so inclined and you're feeling so daring, send us a super chat. I'm not going to rhyme, but instead, any amount of question or statement right on the air. And of course, it supports us here at Fightful Overbooked because, as I say, we are self-funded. We have a lot to talk about. And at 11 a.m. Eastern, so in about just under an hour, we're gonna have the Raddy Daddy himself. Cole Radrick's gonna join us again. He's gonna be at BLP's Turbo Graps 24 because he is, believe it or not, still the BLP heavyweight champion. And we're gonna talk to him about that, and we're gonna talk to him about a little tag team match he recently had on Ring of Honor because certainly got a few eyeballs. That was a fun opportunity for him and friend of the show, Matt Brannigan. So let's talk to Raddy Daddy at 11 a.m. Eastern. How's that sound, Jeremy?
That sounds great. But I have a question for you, Joel. We love Cole. Cole was yelling at me yesterday for trying to book him on this show, by the way.
As he should.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, is 11 good? He's like, I got to get up early for you. Like 11 early? What? I'm up at 6. Like, how is 11 early? Joel, can you stay past 12 today?
Yeah, I should be fine.
Okay. We don't really have anything to talk about. I'm going to tease this.
We gotta book our Friday, I guess.
Well, yeah, I guess so. I'll tease this, everybody. 12 Eastern. We'll call it In the Weeds, Digging Deeper. Can't call it After Dark. I think that's taken.
Also, it's very clearly noon.
Yeah. Well,
it's light out. You can't really call it it's light because then it sounds like we're not going to give you much content.
Well, it's lighthearted content, maybe.
Yeah, but then you got to call it In the Weeds lighthearted, and that just nah.
Okay. Well, you don't even know what I'm about to pitch here.
No,
you're honestly going to be disappointed when you hear this pitch. In the Weeds.
That's common, by the way. That's a common feeling.
In the Weeds, Digging Deeper. Joel Pearl and I are going to do Taylor Swift puzzles at noon Eastern.
Where's Val Capone? Where's Val? She should be doing this with you.
Oh, we can send her. I'll send her the link at noon. Get her on here to do some Taylor Swift puzzles with me. Denise Salcedo's on vacation, so
she for Taylor Swift, she would leave the island of Mykonos just to do Taylor Swift puzzles. I don't know where she's in Greece. I don't know where exactly she is. That'd be weird, but yeah. That's something she would do though.
I'll send the link to about like 11:50 and be like, hey, in 10 minutes we're doing Taylor Swift puzzles. So there's 33 million of these things, Joe. We gotta solve them all. It's like the Pokemon.
What do you get if you win?
I don't know. We gotta find out. 33 million. Can you believe that?
I'm useless when it comes to that stuff.
Somebody's already done like 1 million. I'm sure somebody's done close to all 33 million of these damn things.
Love it. Cody Rhodes does the work. We do the puzzles.
Let's do the puzzle. Yeah, Denise would be great at this. She's on vacation though. We're gonna get our pal Val. There's a rhyme on the show to go do some puzzles.
All right, fine. We'll get Val, and I'll be around for this because I like Val, so that's helpful. Anyway, where do we want to start today? I mean, clearly we're going to be doing puzzles, but where else can we start? Do we want to talk a little bit of wrestling? I guess we should. It's kind of part of the thing. I know, right? What do you have for dinner?
I have given an assignment to my wife to do all of these puzzles to see what we win.
It's a smart idea.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, you know what? Like calling content after dark is a very common thing. I'm just reading the chat. Like after dark is such a common thing. We used to do a show on our Twitch during the pandemic, and we just called it Fightful After Dark. And it was just because it was us and our friends. It would be like a Friday night after SmackDown show where we would just talk about like non-wrestling topics.
Was it called After Dark? I don't feel like it was called that.
We called it After Dark.
Did we?
Yeah, we called it.
That's lazy.
Welcome to the pandemic. We weren't exactly on our A game all the time. It didn't get good until around 2021. So anyway, the After Dark stuff was when we would talk about like our worst jobs, the worst gifts we ever got. There was another one that was
my Disney breakup story.
The breakup story
is famous in in Fightful lore, I
Yeah,
guess.
the Lambert lore is what we did. We do alliteration here, by the way. Yeah, so that's something that went over well back in the day on twitch.tv/Fightful Gaming, which we are streaming on right now because clearly we have problems letting things go. We used to game so often.
Well, I tried to bring that back earlier this year, and I was doing well. I was doing like at least one stream a week, sometimes two streams a week, and then we started this show, and so I stopped. It's priorities, right? Like the gaming was what it was. I had fun with it, but it didn't have as much value. This show ain't got a lot of value, but it didn't have as much value as I felt this show would with guests and interviews and all that stuff. So it's all priorities. I only got so much time in the day. I'm not Tony Khan. I cannot work 80 to 100 hours a week. All right. Maybe if I was, I think Tony's actually about our age. Maybe if
Yes.
I didn't have a family and all of that, then I could be able to pull all of this off. And if I was making millions off of this, I could pull it all off. But you know, I'm not saying I'm underpaid or anything. But if I'm not making Tony Khan money to do this, so it comes down to priorities.
So I brought this up on the internet when I saw this quote about the 80 hours. You know, this was I took the WrestleZone article that I put up, and you know, he said Tony Khan working 80 hours a week was a good week. I'm way past that now, and I said flat out, I'm like, this is not something to be excited about or proud of. I said it's unhealthy, it's unsafe, and it's unsustainable. And I'm not. This is and I don't want anyone to think like, oh, he's going after Tony Khan. No, I'm actually quite. I hate using the word worried because it's not worried because I'm not directly. I don't know Tony personally. My interactions with him have been quite lovely. I think he's a nice guy. I think he cares about wrestling. We've talked about that on this show 100 million times. I'm fearful of running yourself into the ground and the burnout that comes with that. And I just put it out there. You know, I want people to be healthy, especially people who are, you know, trying to do their best work. And I just kind of said, I don't like this grind culture, this like romanticizing of the 100-hour week. I don't like, Jeremy, I know you work hard. I think I work hard and I do it in a way that I don't want to get burnt out. Burnout is inevitable. Unfortunately, we all get burnt out because we all have our limits. We all have our feelings. And I understand that everyone has different limits and they all hit it at different times. However, the level of burnout and the amount of stress that it causes your body can be detrimental. You know, I think about Mr. Beast of all people and in interviews that he's done where he's like, I have a mental breakdown once a week because because I burn out and because I try to put out the best content imaginable. And that's great. But like that comes at a cost to your mental and physical well-being. And I don't want someone who works hard to be affected by this in the long term. So when I see this, like I have an 80-hour week and I'm proud of that, or I do more now, it's like, that's not good. Like there's an opportunity here to understand your limits, to work with other people collaboratively, and also to just give up delegate some delegate some of the workload. And that's something that Tony has a good opportunity to do.
Shout out to Tony Khan grinding legally.
Stop it.
All right, here's the thing. Look, should people work 80, 100 hours to a week? No, they shouldn't. That's a lot of work. I feel I work too much a lot of times, and then you factor in everything else that goes into it, like a family and things. Like it does become a lot. I'm not saying Tony's not working hard during these 80 to 100 hours because knowing what I know about Tony, I don't think he really slows down or anything like that. But you've also just got to think of like what he considers these hours as well, because there are people that they have jobs and a 9 to 5, right? You clock in 9 o'clock, you clock out 5 o'clock. I'm terrible at math, but let's say you do that 5 days a week. How many hours of that is a week, Joel Pearl?
It's a 40-hour work week.
Okay, that's a 40-hour work week, 9 to 5, 5 days a week. how hard are some of these people working during those 40 hours? If you're spending 10 hours of that chilling, Googling stuff, doing Taylor Swift puzzles, is that really working for 10 of those 40 hours? Here's what I'm trying to get at here, by the way. Is Tony can say 80 to 100 hours. And do I believe like he's working like relatively hard during these 80 to 100 hours? Yes. But do I also believe that maybe like 10 of these hours that he's considering work, during 2 of these hours he's running the show and everything. Like to Tony, that's fun. All right, got to make sure this is there. 2 hours on Dynamite, 2 hours on Collision, whatever. Like, do I think he's maybe doing 10 hours of just like researching? Does he consider maybe 10 hours of like watching footage? Is that work to him? Is he including that in the 80 to 100 hours? If he's just spending, 2 hours a day, hey, let me watch this old match. Hey, let me watch this tape and everything. Like, that's not so Michael kind of is making the point more succinct than I am. Like it depends on how taxing the work is. Yes, like go ahead.
I want to rewind for a second. The idea of the show being fun. I can speak to that from experience. You can have as much fun as you want putting together a show and trying to make the best show possible. But the second it goes live, the amount of stress that comes with that. I'm not saying you don't take that into account, Jeremy. I'm not. I just want to bring it up for anyone who might feel that way. It becomes a very different beast when you're sitting with the headphones on and you're trying to basically herd cats and keep to times. There's like 100 million things going on at one time. It very much becomes work. And then you have some guy running a VTR of someone going take 22, and next thing you know, you're screaming because that wasn't supposed to air, and the cogs in the machine aren't really turning properly, and that's a whole different can of worms. So sorry, go ahead.
No, I completely agree with you, and I feel like I didn't. I tried to diminish that more than it should be. Of like, oh yeah, he's only spending 2 hours of that is just doing the show. The show, I would imagine, is very stressful, and dealing with everything you got to deal with there is very stressful. My overall point is, what is he considering when it comes to this 80 or 100 hour a work week? Like, if 10 of those hours a week is just watching old wrestling and just maybe coming up with ideas or just seeing what worked then, or just like watching it to watch it, or watching a Jaguars game. Like, is he working during the game? Yeah, he does like the analytic stuff. Is he tracking everything? I truly don't know. Like, if he's just watching the game and then just kind of like taking notes of things, okay, but it's not the same as when he's running an AEW show or anything. Same with like a Fulham game. If he's just like watching the game, kind of taking notes and everything, but he's still like, is that factored into his 80, 100 hour work week? Because if it is just like, hey, let me watch the game and take notes and stuff, that's not super taxing work. I don't, maybe it is for maybe depending on the notes he's taking. I do assume Tony's probably taking kind of meticulous notes, honestly. Maybe it can be a little taxing. But when people say, oh, I work 40 hours a week, I work 80 hours a week. Okay, but what is the actual work when it comes to that? And again, I do not diminish, I'm not trying to diminish the hours Tony puts in, how hard he actually works, because I do believe Tony works very hard. I also believe there is a little bit of hyperbole when people say they working this many hours, but how hard are you working during those hours? Because I've known people, Joel, who they get on at this hour, they get off at this hour, right? But then they don't do any work during those hours. So it's like, okay, sure, you worked 40 hours a week, but like you didn't do anything during those 40 hours. At least during like half of those hours, you didn't do anything. So like, I don't feel that bad for you that you say you work 40 hours a week and it's such a struggle and it's so much. That's my only point. But overall, I do agree that like, yeah, if you're working hard nonstop hours, 80 to 100 hours a week, gotta slow down a little bit. Gotta slow down a little bit on that, and maybe delegate stuff. But there is just different levels to 80 hours, 100 hours, and how much work you're actually putting in, and what you consider work. I think that's the biggest thing, is what is considered in that. Because I can sit here, I can say like, Oh, I work basically nonstop every single day. I'm up at 6 o'clock, and then people can check the timestamp of when I'm posting stuff. Some posts are up at like 6:30. And then they might not see another post from me. Like they'll see posts throughout the day. My last post of the day might be like 11:30 because I'm covering a show or whatever. But like if I'm not covering a show, but I'm still watching Raw, do I count that as 3 hours that I've been working? I could. I could make it sound really good of how much I've worked, but I don't fully consider that, oh, I'm working hard during these 3 hours of Raw. People who know me know my laptop's typically in front of me, and I am doing posts and scheduling stuff during that time. So that's my only point on things.
That's still work though. Those
It is well, okay,
you're
but is watching if I'm not doing articles, but I'm just watching Raw, is that work? Do I count that as like, oh, I worked for 3 more hours on top of everything I already did?
So it to me, and again, this is why this conversation is very much subjective, and we'll go into a lot of differences in work culture and expectation after this, but this is yeah, like if you're taking notes and you're going to be talking about it, say on a post show. So in Sean and Denise's case, because they run the Raw post show, this would be work for them because they are immediately following up and talking about it. I would contend to a lesser degree, you and I are technically working during those 3 hours. We're watching Raw, we're internalizing. And then the next day, or even so I guess Wednesday, so it'd be 2 days later in our case, we talk about Raw. We don't talk about it as deep dive as as Sean and Denise do with immediate reactions, but Impact. Impact's a good example for me. I watch 2 hours of Impact on Thursday nights, and then I immediately go onto this screen and I talk about it with Cresta Star for an hour, sometimes more. That's 3 hours of work to me. If you're doing things that it require a immediate reaction, I think that the workload's a little harder. If you're just doing a little bit of conversational stuff like you and I do, or even if we're researching for an interview, things like that, we're still consuming content, but we're trying to take it so that we have notes in order to do our job. Tony's kind of in the same boat. If he's reviewing matches and watching it, yeah, it's kind of like it's levels of work. It is about how hard you're working, or at least what you're doing at the same time. If you take a 7-hour day, or not 7 hours, sorry, 7 days. Let's say Tony doesn't take a break. Let's say Tony is on 7 days a week and he's working 16-hour days. That's 112 hours a week. That's insane. But again, the work has different levels. When I did the cruise ship gig, they used to have us do something called an ELO, which was the time on and the time off of your work. Because if you overworked, you were like, it was some sort of problem with maritime law, or at least the company laws. So you had to be working a certain amount in order to be okay. If you overworked, then like your supervisor gets in shit. It's a whole thing. It's very funny. But yeah, it's there's no right answer, and everyone does have a different kind of level of workload that they're comfortable with. And it also, Jeremy, to your point, is you have someone who might clock in, sit for 8 hours, not do anything, versus someone who clocks in, gets a lot done, and then clocks out, forgets about the job. I think I'm more to the latter personally, because I try to separate my time. Unfortunately, wrestling also happens at night. So a lot of there are like chunks of my day that are like, I am a dad full time now. And then there are chunks of my day where I am on the air with you, or I'm researching or rewatching. And then the evenings I'm dad, I'm cooking, I'm putting my kid down for sleep, I'm with my partner, and that's my job. So, I could argue I pull 16-hour days too, but I'm not going to, because the work is different. So this is just, it's a larger conversation about how you consider work and how much work versus rest is important to you, because rest is important. Triple H had we turned it into, not us, but like people turned it into a whole meme that rest is important. You need your 8 hours. You need your 8 hours of sleep, Tony. Get your sleep.
I agree with Ryan. This comes down to the fact that Joel doesn't grind like I do. Factual, 100% factual.
First of all, I will never disagree with Jeremy's level of work versus mine. 100%. Only Jeremy can write an article like, I'm officially retired from MMA. Bellator was jerking me off. So I don't have that fortitude, if you will. No, I know that
Sitting
Jeremy.
through a 2-hour Jake Hager virtual signing, sitting through a 2.5-hour Kurt Angle on the Joe Rogan experience.
But that's work.
I
That's
know.
work. And then so again, going back to the Raw conversation, like that's work. We're sitting here, we're doing our research, we're doing things so that we can write or talk about these things, and that's work for us. And again, right, you know, to Ryan's point, he's joking, but also I will very readily admit that Jeremy works very hard. I will also very readily admit that I worry about Jeremy sometimes.
I worry about myself. So.
Case in point.
Here, I think what we need is Tony. We two things. We need one of two things here. We need someone to follow Tony around 24/7 for a week and see the 80 to 100 hours of work that he actually does. All right. So uncut Tony Khan cam for 7 days a week, 24/7. I want the footage of him sleeping. I don't know when this camera person's going to sleep. They got to like trade off.
It's gonna be Cutler and Colt just trading off. It's
got to be two people trading off and everything. So I want the entire uncut. How many hours in a week, Joel?
How many hours in a week?
Yeah.
What is that? 24 by
24 times 7. Do math.
I don't do math very well. Oh no, I pressed the find button.
Oh my gosh, Joel.
168.
Okay. Uncut 168 hours of footage of Tony Khan. That's what I need. Put that shit on Max and watch me be the only viewer. I need that, or I think that's the best way to go about it, because that's the most accurate way to portray Tony Khan and how much he works. Or I need Tony to write out his entire day of like what he does and everything and how many hours he spent doing it. One of the two. That's what we need. All right. So Tony, if you're listening, I know you are, we need to come to an agreement on how much you're doing on the 80 to 100. We need a documentation of how much work your 80 to 100 hour work week is. All right, Tony? I'm not asking for much here. Just asking for someone to follow you around for 24/7 for an entire week. Or I'm asking you to write down everything you do. And I need someone to take the minutes. You know, Tony doesn't have to do this. If we have someone follow him around to take the minutes, that's fine as well.
Dear Will Washington, please find enclosed a GoPro, a notebook, and a pen. Please complete the following for me. I don't think that'll work. Someone in the chat is the other one. Jimmy Jacobs hired to follow Tony around and help him book. Yeah, sure, but he ain't following Tony to his hotel room, making sure he goes to sleep. I need that person to tuck in Tony at night. Could you imagine
a bedtime story?
Yeah, giving Tony tuck-ins. Come on, let's go. And the Jaguars
bless Tony.
The Super Bowl.
Look, I worry about Tony, and like he's doing a lot, man. He's got the Jazz, he's got Fulham, he's got AEW, ROH. Like he's doing a lot. Again, how hard I don't for the record, I hope everyone at this point is very clear. I don't dispute how hard Tony Khan works when he says 80 to 100 hours. I don't think it's 60 of those hours he ain't actually working type of thing. He just punched the clock and then punched out. Now, Tony Khan's working very hard, and I am more or less in agreement with Joel that like find your breaks. And I'm in agreement with Joel. This goes to everybody. Find your breaks, everyone. Whatever that break is, you know, hey, look, if Tony's good with however much sleep he's getting, if he takes maybe to him just watching, you know, putting the Fulham game on and just, he says it like, hey, just watch the soccer. That's my break. Hey, cool. Like I get that. For me, I play video games, and that's kind of my break. You know, sometimes I'll play video games while listening to a podcast, and it's still technically work, but I'm listening for keywords, key phrases that I can turn into an article type of thing. But it helps. I don't have to fully lock in like I would otherwise. And sometimes I listen to a podcast and I'll do 2 other articles during that time. And that is hard work. So it's all about just kind of the effort level you're giving on the work and the time management. And I hope Tony it seems like for the most part, I mean, there are some stressful times, and like, you know, you get burnt out on this stuff. And there's a lot going on. Tony's managing fairly well, at least for now. He's had some disheveled moments in press conferences.
I'm not
but
gonna take this shit.
that ruled. I mean, that was a tough night. That was a tough night for old TK.
Night.
But for the most part, he seems good. Seems good, man.
And I hope that continues, because you know what? It's more fun to talk about the good wrestling than it is to talk about the, you know, the shit. And again, conversations like these are why we do In the Weeds, because these are conversations that are kind of like depth on a multiple level, in that we're talking about the wrestling side of it, being Tony and the way that he operates and booking literally his entire life and AEW. But it also gives us a chance to kind of talk to each other and talk to the audience about like the dangers of burnout and how working is different. And hopefully these are things that people kind of take away from, and yeah, they think about it and they ruminate on it and they therapize with it. Maybe they go into a therapy session and talk about burnout. I know I have many times talked about burnout with a therapist. I should get Jimmy Jacobs to follow me around.
I just complain to my wife, who has to hear all of this.
Talk to a therapist. Your partner is not a therapist. Please, for the love of God, I can only say this so many times. Your partner is not a therapist.
She makes me feel better about things, though, Joel.
Fair. Okay. Let's.
She just agrees with me, which I appreciate.
That's not helpful. I'm not here.
It's helpful to me. It's reassuring.
I guess. Jesus. You need more yes men in your life. I'm gonna call Sean and tell him to agree with you more.
He honestly, he should. Sean and I, we've been. I'm just kidding. We've been clashing. Fight Sean Ross Sapp.
One of these days, I'm gonna referee that fight.
He should agree with me more. I should probably agree with him more on things. Everyone just agree with everyone. Life would be so much easier.
I feel like the agreements of one will not agree to the others.
How much easier would life be if 19 million motherfuckers were just like me, Joel Pearl?
And this looks like a job for me. So everybody.
Anyway. No. Pretty sure that's Real Slim Shady. Not without me.
Not the other one. I don't know. I don't remember anything anymore.
Wrong one.
Anyway, I do remember that we reported over on Fightful Select that Randy Orton's been seen around the WWE PC. This was some fun news to discover last night, and I think our pal Cassidy Haynes over at Body Slam had also given some of this news up, that the Orton bus had been spotted outside the PC. Who's hanging out at the Orton bus? Okay, like, is it just Randy? Is there anyone else hanging out in the Orton bus? No, I'm not asking like who's camping out and trying to seek out the Orton bus. No, I'm asking who's hanging out in the Randy Orton bus, in your opinion.
If we're at the Performance Center,
yeah,
who's there? I assume Becky. Becky's probably chilling in the Randall bus.
I feel like her bus is already pretty set up.
Carmelo Hayes, maybe. People seem to like him. He's gotten good words from like Cody and stuff. Carmelo Hayes, like Joe Gacy, maybe.
I would love that. Who's a gamer on the NXT roster? Who's the biggest gamer?
I assume all of them.
Who would play Madden with Randy Orton?
I assume all of them.
That's
Trick Williams. Trick Williams probably gamer.
And Mello are just doing just big campaign and Madden with Randy Orton. That's the one I need. Either way, so we're seeing Randy seems to be working out in the ring. That's pretty good news, or at least working out at the PC, not necessarily in the ring. But this is very interesting news, because this is traditionally one step closer to the potential of returning. Now, this isn't me saying he's going to be back next week or anything, but you know, as we start to get towards WrestleMania season, is this something that you personally would be interested in seeing? Maybe a surprise Randy Orton Royal Rumble entry, or just a WrestleMania build to a story for Randy? How are you feeling about the news and the potential of a Randy Orton return?
It's not a surprise, because it's been spoiled by those jerks over at Fightful Select.
Can't believe it.
Yeah. Look, I'm all for Randy getting back. One, just getting back healthy, right? Like we want good health for everybody. It sucks when people are injured. Orton's been out for over a year. Like, there was the report that he was going to work Roman at SummerSlam last year. And obviously that didn't happen because he's been out since before SummerSlam of last year. So it's not. I apologize that the wife is actually like doing these Taylor Swift puzzles. This is going to break her. She is not happy with any of this.
Why did you put her up to this?
Well, because I asked her to, and this is she. For some reason, she listens to me. I don't get it, but yeah, she's not thrilled with any of this. All right. Regarding Randy though, we want good health for him because he's been out for so long. So if he's just able to return in any capacity, that's a good sign right there. What he's gonna look like after this long away, after a pretty major surgery, don't know. Hopefully he's still at a good level. Randy's always been that was always the thing, right? Methodical, work slow it down, kid. Grab a headlock, Randy, type of thing. So I don't think he's gonna have to change his style too much or anything. Yeah, I'm for him being in the Rumble or being at Mania, whatever capacity it will be good, because I think when Triple H came back, I think a lot of people were excited to see how Randy was going to be used, and we never really got it. He was doing good work with Riddle. He even said how he felt very revitalized during that time working with Riddle. He felt a lot looser with everything, and we haven't seen just Randy in any capacity for a while. But the main thing is his health. Is if he's healthy, feeling good, then I'll be happy to see him back in any real capacity, because the RKO is going to always get a pop. Randy's that dude who's he's over. No matter what, he's going to be over. So I'm interested to see him in kind of this new landscape where it is still similar people at the top, but there's also some new people, and there's a lot of stories to tell. I think Cody is the biggest one you can tell, but there's some bloodline stuff you can do with Randy as well. So it'd be good to see him back.
Yeah, so that's the big question is, if he does come back, who are the opponents? And you mentioned Bloodline, go back to SummerSlam, and that was the big inkling. What was that, 2 years ago now? Was that SummerSlam in 2020? No, 2021 was Cena. 2022, yeah. There was talk about doing Randy and Reigns. Roman Reigns. Yeah. So all the R's. So and obviously that's not what happened. But I mean, what about the potential of doing Riddle versus Randy? I don't want to talk about Riddle because clearly he's not on TV much, and there are other things at play. But if things do clear up, is that something that people would want to see? Just like from the casual WWE fan, knows nothing about what happened with Riddle, knows nothing other than Riddle and Randy were a very popular tag team, and now they're both back, and let's say one is a heel and one's a babyface. Is that a match that a casual fan would be wanting to see if the story is told right?
I think you got to tie it up. Am I just a little personal in there with the things that have happened? It's not something I'm super interested in, but they were a popular team. I don't think anybody can deny that. They were a popular team. They were over. People were invested in them. And like I said, Randy seemed to take a liking to Riddle. He seemed to enjoy working with Riddle. He seemed to enjoy the freedom that he and Riddle were having. I think if Riddle is on television, and that's really the biggest thing, is Riddle even going to be on TV? Is he even going to be used? Who knows? If he does have some type of role, then I think it's a story you've at least got to tie up. And look, if the tie up is Randy hits him with an RKO and Riddle disappears forever, that's the tie up. But I think if Riddle's still featured and everything, then yeah, you can do a match out of it. I don't want to see. I think a tag team would be maybe good for Randy at this stage of his career, because it would just mean less work for him. And I think he would be all on board with that. Like, wait, I only got to do, because I think that was kind of a selling point to him when in teaming with Riddle, is just like, oh, I only got to kind of do less stuff. He'll go out there and do everything else type of thing. So I do think a tag team would be good for Randy. Who a potential partner is. I don't know. It'd probably have to be someone similar to Riddle, because I don't think Randy's going to get booed. He can easily turn him. He works fine as a more than fine as a heel. He's a dick. Like he can pull off being a heel very easily. He's very very good at that throughout the years on television. I almost like want to see like a Randy and Drew tag team against like a Sammy and Kevin. I think there's a lot of fun they could have there. If Randy's going to stay as like a kind of a sort of serious babyface type thing, or not sort of, but like kind of a straight man for a more goofy guy. Like who could be in that role? Maybe they did the thing with Gable, Randy Orton in the Alpha Academy. Should you imagine Randy's got to relearn everything he knows about wrestling? Chad Gable is now his teacher.
Could you imagine Randy Orton going shoosh?
That's be hilarious. He wanted to work with Ciampa. Like, remember they did that thing for, it was like during the pandemic. Like he even said, like, I want to work with Ciampa. I want to tell Ciampa, like, hey, you can slow down. You don't have to do this big type of grind type thing. It'll be fine. Someone says LA Knight and Randy. There's plenty of stuff for Randy to do. It's just a matter of where you're going to place him and how much is he going to work.
The Sicilian Snakes. Randy Orton, Tommaso Ciampa.
What do you think of the Riddle thing? Do you think, let's say Riddle is being used on television weekly, do they go back to that team? Does somebody turn, or do they just act like it never happened?
The problem is, the insider in me is like, nothing's gonna happen. They don't necessarily trust in Matt Riddle right now, and I would argue deservedly so. If Riddle were to come back and prove himself to management and to people backstage that he is actively trying to be a good team member and just perfect for the company, then yeah, I think he would be rewarded with Randy Orton, because that's a huge opportunity. You mentioned the pop, that the second that music hits, when Orton's music hits, that's a legacy popper right there. It's always there. It's always a part of it. That's because they were so popular as a tag team. Yeah, I would want to see something, and I'd want to see one of them as a heel. Honestly, wouldn't hate seeing Matt Riddle as a heel in this whole entire case. But he's the only person that's like the only situation that I would want to see this in. But Riddle would have to turn around a lot of people's mindsets and both backstage and in front of the audience to make that happen. There's another name that I'm kind of interested in, and believe it or not, it's CM Punk. The two had a match at WrestleMania 27, and it was okay. Is there room to do Randy and Punk in some sort of match? Is there any interest in that? I mean, the two of them tell good stories. Pardon?
There's interest in it. I don't know.
Was it worthwhile? Like, is there something? Because again, this is a legacy story. It completely tosses out the whole like LOL Cody Rhodes versus CM Punk because of the Rock thing. Let's say the Rock thing isn't a thing, and it's actually going to be Cody and Roman at WrestleMania. Would Randy and Punk, could it make sense? Could it work? Could they run it back? Like years, and we're talking like years later, a decade plus later, because that match was like 2011, 2012.
You can do it. There will be interest in it. There's going to be interest in whatever the hell CM Punk does if he ends up returning to WWE. I think there's going to be interest in whatever Randy does whenever he returns. I also think that's probably the style, the pace Punk wants to work. I mean, look at his feuds in AEW. He was working certain people with a certain pace for the most part. Especially, I mean, the latest run didn't last too long, but he was working Joe. Joe's pace is what it is at this point. Love Joe, but he ain't working this high intense pace like the Young Bucks or anything. He works the slower style. Randy's gonna work the slower style. So I think that would make sense for a CM Punk to be in that style. Yeah, there's interest because there's just gonna be interest in anything Punk does. I ain't put in a CM Punk return. A lot of people saying Cody and Orton. I think that's something you got to do.
I would
think
do that as Cody's first title defense. If Cody were to win at WrestleMania, I would do Cody and Orton because that's a story that you can carry for multiple months.
Yeah.
You can have a reformed variation on Legacy or have some sort of, 6-man tag. There is opportunity for a lot of story. I wouldn't lead into Mania with that. I'd lead out of Mania with something like that.
That's fair. I mean, maybe Randy helps Cody with the bloodline stuff going into 40, and then they kind of still team a little afterwards, and then Randy turns on Cody because Randy always turns on somebody. Maybe Randy is the guy Cody needs to get him to finish the story.
You can just do Randy and Riddle at Saudi. Problem is, then both men get paid very well.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to give that up as an opportunity. Either way, this is it's good news to know that Randy Orton is, potentially on his way back, that he's at least working out in the ring. I love that in the report it was added, the interview with Cody Rhodes, he said, even the Undertaker couldn't get around the mandate that you have to do a workout in the PC if you're coming back to WWE. I think that's very funny, and the Undertaker couldn't get around it. Why would Randy Orton? The man had a backiotomy, for Christ's sake. So it's good news. It's good news to know that he's in the ring, that he's working out, and there's a potential for return and a lot of stories. And we don't know what his schedule would look like coming out of such major surgery and such major return, because he's been out for well over a year, but probably closer to 18 months by now.
Well, that's why I think maybe a tag team would suit him better. If he's going to wrestle and be kind of on the road full time, which I don't know if he is. Maybe he is just going to do kind of part-time schedule, which he's more than earned at this point. But if he's going to be on the road and sort of working a little bit full time, then a tag team would make some sense for him, because then he just only got to take, really, he ain't got to take any of the bumps if he doesn't want to. Just let the other person bump the entire time, get the hot tag, RKO, call it a night.
Do you imagine? You do all the work, kid. I'm just going to come get the glory.
Look, that's the way to do it.
Randy's
been around long enough. He knows this stuff.
Yeah. Have Johnny Gargano do Gargano RKO in the chat. I love it. CM Punk versus Dominic Mysterio is another one, but we're not talking about Punk. He's got litigation to not do. So I see this in the Twitch chat, and the thoughts on the rumors of WWE coming to Australia for a PLE. I am Australian. Well, first of all, thank you for joining us at the ungodly hour of, that's probably like noon over there. It's noon tomorrow is what it is. But this was really cool news that WWE is potentially going back to Australia in February is the rumored timeline. What do you think? This is good. It'd be the first time in about 5 years that they've done a major event there. Last time they did Triple H and The Undertaker, and it was this was around a time, by the way, where they did like Hell in a Cell, Evolution. They had a Saudi show and then the Australian PLE, and they were like within like a months of each other, like in the same timeline, and they were trying to promote all of them at the same time. I think they've gotten a little bit better at WWE about the promotion timeline. But what do you think? WWE going back to Australia? Do you want to go? It's only like $2,500 for a return ticket, right? And a 16-hour flight to Sydney, and then you got to get to Perth.
I think it makes sense that they're going to do this. They've been doing more international live events over the past year, and Australia is a market that they haven't been to recently. It's a market where they've got some top local talent. I mean, Rhea Ripley being the biggest. And, I think a lot of the Australian talent has pushed for it. It's been rumored. I can't tell you how many articles I've written of, Bronson Reed or Rhea Ripley talking about like, yeah, I heard we might go to Australia, but then they didn't go to Australia type of thing. So there's been a lot. Our guest is backstage flipping me off.
Rightfully so, by the way.
Yeah, fair. There's been a lot of talk about the Australian event, and so I think the fact that they're finally going to do it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the PLE. I'm not looking forward to the time that it might air, because it'll probably be about 5 a.m. when it goes live, But other than that, I think it's really cool that Australians are going to get a live pay-per-view or a live PLE again. I would love to go, but I would absolutely hate the flight that it entails. It's not fun unless you're in first class, which I haven't experienced for a flight like that. You know what? He's flipping us off. He's making a scene. So if he's ready to go, he can flip me off again. We can just bring him on. Oh, the other guy. We'll flip the other guy off. You give me the thumbs up and flip the other guy off. Let's bring him on. Ladies and gentlemen, the BLP Black Label Pro Heavyweight Champion. He's going to be in action this coming weekend. I'm looking for my overlay. Here we go. It's going to be in action this weekend at Turbo Graps 24. It's available on Fight Plus. Come and check him out. The one, the only Raddy Daddy himself, Cole Radrick, joins us now. Hello.
What is up, pal? It's nice to see everybody again.
Good to see
you. Is it nice to see me after you've been DMing me that you're gonna beat me up? You've called me never. A bitch ass.
I think my correct term was hoe ass.
But let's get to the bottom if it's bitch ass or hoe ass. It was hoe ass this morning. It was hoe this morning. It was punk ass bitch last night.
I love you. Brother, I'm so tired. We're out here though.
Yeah, because I made you wake up at 11 a.m. Like this is early. We're an hour into our show.
Brother, I went to bed at like 5:30 this morning.
Good Lord,
I remember that.
My girlfriend works night shifts. I'm scheduled to her sleep schedule.
Oh, then it's her fault, not yours.
I mean, or we can just blame Jeremy.
Thank you. It's so much easier when you just blame Jeremy. Are you a light sleeper, Cole?
No. My girlfriend came home this morning from work and was supposed to, she woke me up, and that was at 8 a.m. And I think I woke up physically at 10:25. This depends on whatever time I sent Jeremy his first sweet message of the day.
Yeah, it was let's see, 10:20 against all my will. I have awoken. So you're up.
Yeah, 10:15.
Yeah.
Look at it. CTE is a myth, folks. We cracked it.
I miss going to bed at 5 and waking up at 2.
I don't like. I'm not saying I enjoy it, folks. Don't get me wrong. But whenever 3 a.m. is your 6 p.m. and you're an old man that wants to go to bed at 8 p.m. and you're taking the trash out at 3 a.m. and then there's an Uber outside dropping off the drunk couple that lives right next to you, and you know that they know that you heard them arguing last night. It was a great moment, because there was just a moment where I had like 3 trash bags in my hand at 3 a.m. wearing a different all black hoodie, mind you, hood up, because I don't it's just like a weird anxiety thing. And then I just have all these trash bags just staring at them. And I'm hoping part of me was like, why is he taking the trash out at 3 a.m. with a black hoodie with the hood up? And then part of me hopes that they just don't ask questions.
Yeah, I don't think they want to ask questions if they were arguing and you know the details of this. Do you think they think you were lonely at 3 a.m.?
No.
Okay.
Because I don't know. I'm not lonely at 3 a.m. Leave me alone.
Jeremy, he only sleeps when it's raining and he screams in the hotel. Anyway.
That's a myth.
Do you have a mat on your doorway that says happiness?
No, I have a black cat mat outside of my door.
I saw you were nursing your cat and you were like, this is why I can't have kids, because you had to take the cat away from the trash bag. Cats love bags, by the way. We have a cat. This thing will not stay away from our grocery bag. Just wants to eat it, lick it, whatever. Like, go away, dummy.
So remnants of food.
We had like the funniest thing. Christmas last year, my cat got a certain ornament off the tree, and it was just this tiny little bell-looking plastic ornament. Starts knocking it around, and I was like, all right, I'm sweeping up. This ornament's going into the trash. Threw it away. And my cat sulked for 5. No, there we go. My cat cried for was whining, throwing a fit. Like, you pick her up and she's just. So eventually I opened up the Christmas ornaments that we had put away just to unscrew one with the cap and give her one that she plays with all the time now.
Had to
So
buy the cat its own Christmas ornament to make it happy. Cats are a pain.
they are, but like they're also the best. Like I don't know if you remember us talking about Mac, who's like our brand new kitten. He's about 1 year old and about 25 pounds. So it's going well. But he's not a big like physical touch cat. But there will be times where like, especially when I'm up here in Rec Twitch Mountain, twitch.tv/Raddy Daddy number 4 ever. Especially when I'm up here, he'll lay down like on either side of me. And it's funny because I won't notice he's there until I feel like a weight drop. And I figured out he literally just stands on his feet and throws himself to his side to get my attention that he's actually physically ready to be touched.
Our cat will just walk all over us. Like we'll just be laying around and she'll take the longest route of like, oh, instead of coming up just to the side of you to lay next to you, let me walk over your legs, walk over your body, and then I'll lay next to you. What are we doing?
I love it.
Listen, let me tell you when it's the weirdest. When you have a human child and you ask that child, hey, you want to give me a hug? And the child says, nah, and then runs away. That's when you know that love is in the air, friends. Okay? No
one wants a hug.
I can't do that. I cannot do that. I could not. I would be so emotionally like destroyed. Like when it happens with my cat, I'm very hurt. I'm like, why don't you want me to pet you right now? Why? If it was my physical child that could talk to me, and he goes, no, I'm crying. I'm inconsolable. I'm seeking therapy. I'm wondering if it was me, if it was Sean Ross Sapp not getting a pop in Black Label Pro. Like, I'm wondering what butterfly effect could have caused this moment in my life where my child doesn't want to even hug me. It's hurtful.
I can tell you eventually he comes around and wants the affection.
I know Sean Ross Sapp will never get the affection.
No.
Oh, your child.
My child.
Yeah.
No, Sean doesn't need the affection. He's fine.
I mean, he can probably get it behind the paywall.
we gotta get you.
I love him.
You're apparently unpaid. You're an outsider reporter who is unpaid.
You know.
You gotta have your own Patreon, Cole. Can you do Cole Select? Raddy Daddy Select?
I mean, if I got in on the Fightful NFL talk, I'd probably have a job by now. But whatever.
That
show.
Yeah, we had that for a little while. I was gonna. We're gonna talk no wrestling.
Oh, no, we never do. It's a train wreck from start to finish.
It is.
And I'm literally like, at what point are you going to bring him in here, like you always do?
He shows up by his own volition.
Yeah,
I know.
For some
reason, he's lurking somewhere.
For some reason, this is the one show he actually watches that exists on the entire platform. I don't understand it. It's like Beetlejuicing this whole thing. It's awful.
I do have a bone to pick with you when it comes to the
what
NFL,
did I do,
Cole? Frank Reich is awful. Why?
Your goddamn.
You muted yourself.
That was Control D, or you just unplugged your microphone accidentally.
So I get very physical whenever something happens and it just triggers a bad memory, a bad season, a bad point in my life, something I've lost sleep over, something I have cried myself to sleep over. And like, I like to move my microphone around a lot. I'll grab it, talk into it. There's this real reason why, even after everything that happened last year, I am so happy that we got rid of Frank Reich and went to Jeff Saturday. I do not care. I would have rather gone down like the shitstorm that we were last year with Jeff Saturday than to go out with Frank Reich, where I have this smallest, tiniest bit of hope. And I'm glad.
here's a 5-yard check down. Oh, let's throw a screen pass. Oh, here's a swing pass to the running back. Take no shots down the field. No creativity offensively.
39 fullback dive.
Oh, it's
Love
it's awful. It's boring to watch. Like, we got the number 1 overall pick, and I'm trying to watch these games. Like,
Anthony Richardson should have been the number 1 overall pick.
Nah, Bryce. I think Bryce will be okay, but this quarterback is just, this quarterback coach and just the coach in general, awful, absolutely awful. Frank Reich offense, terrible stuff. Joel, ask a wrestling question. Try to bring some legitimacy to this show and interview. Otherwise, Cole and I will just talk about football the rest of the time.
And cats.
Listen, man, we talk a lot.
UFC.
We talk a lot. Not that. We talk a lot.
Oh, we do need to talk about that.
We will, I guess.
Panthers never doing well.
Shazza McKenzie never wins matches. Somehow she beat you at a freelance event. What the hell happened?
I'm seeing brass knuckles and tight spool.
Oh, okay.
Allegedly.
Oh, allegedly. Okay. Allegedly. Let's all right, fine. Let's talk about
Sore subject.
I just wanted to get it out there.
It's not on Cage Match and a match guide where people have reviewed it with comments yet, so I don't know if it counts.
Good. Doesn't matter. We brought it up. We just got it in. We got it out. Let's talk about a Ring of Honor. You had your best pal Matt Brannigan. You teamed up, took on Gates.
Best pal. The Hog and Cog connection.
You were watching Sausage Party last night. I just assumed
legendary movie.
We're going to talk about that too. It's in my list. But first, let's talk about Ring of Honor. How was the experience working in front of the crowd at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse?
Man, it was pretty awesome. There's like a weird set of events that kind of led up to it, but it was the fact that something did come up from it was pretty cool. Sorry, just blanking out on. I'm not blanking out, but trying to figure out how to word I want to say. It was a really cool thing, man. Because like when I first started wrestling, like I'm a realist at some forms, and I'm like, listen, I'm a 5'8", really kind of unathletic white dude from a super small town. To me, making it was just doing something for a major promotion, just having a physical match, and to do that was like checking off one of the biggest goals I had wanted to do in wrestling. So it's kind of surreal. Now, did it kind of go the way I wanted it to? No. I still have like a matte burn on my forehead from the finish. But when we're preloaded in that ring, me and Matt Radrick walk out there. I'm trying to keep pace with him because he has big, strong legs. Quads. We get in the ring, and there was a couple fans that started chanting Raddy Daddy, like before the other people came out, and I thought that was really cool. And then by the end of it, the crowd seemed to be having a good time with me, and I got thrown directly onto my face. And don't remember much of that.
Did anyone have anything to say after the experience of once you got through the curtain and you came to and you were like, okay, got thrown in my face. How we feeling?
Honestly, I was just more ready not in a negative way about the experience or Ring of Honor or whatsoever. I was so ready to leave, and not because I didn't have a good experience. But I had to drive. So I had to drive from Indy to Cleveland, Ohio, 5.5 hours. And then Cleveland, Ohio, back to Indy to get on a plane to go to New York. Because my flight left at 6 a.m. So AEW show ended at midnight.
Okay, so how does that even... You had to go back to Indy, and then did you make the flight?
Yeah.
Yeah, because he worked the GCW show the next night.
Did you speed?
Listen, brother, we made it on time.
Did he make it? That's all that matters.
Listen,
no cops are here. All right.
If Sean Ross Sapp is hiding somewhere.
That's true. You became, in my opinion, besides Bryan Danielson, I can't put anybody above Bryan Danielson. Sorry, Cole, but aside from Danielson, to me, you're the greatest ROH worker of all time after just this one match. Because, yeah, look, all anybody was talking about after this ROH show on Thursday was you. I don't know what else happened on this show, and I watch it, but I know Cole Radrick did the spin, did the camera point, did the back off, and got pounced, and unfortunately also got tossed onto your head with everything. You were the standout from ROH on Thursday. So my question coming out of this is, for the first thing, which is now a GIF online, when you're doing the spin and the point and the look around, do you have in your head, I'm going to go and I'm going to do all of this. I'm going to go and I'm going to make sure I stand out, do something memorable for this, to where the people, they might not know anything else about this show. They're going to remember Cole Radrick teaming with Matt Brannigan and getting his ass kicked.
It's more or less of, no matter, I had a good way of putting it. What's is it like playing with a full set of cards? Like, I can't think of the term. I've already won in my head. Like, in wrestling, I've already won. I'm playing on borrowed time, playing with, whatever you want to say.
House money.
I'm playing with house money. Thank you. Thank you. So I'm playing with house money right now. Legitimately speaking, if wrestling ended tomorrow, I did way more than I thought I would ever accomplish. So to me, this is so much fun. This is what I love doing. What I love is entertaining a crowd and making sure by the end of the night, I did something at least along the lines to entertain them. And so when you may or may not realize you may or may not have a really short match, you have to find ways to stand out and to be entertaining. And so I don't sit there and be like, okay, I'm going to do this spin and I'm going to look at the camera or any of these things. To me, I am living in the moment and having as much fun as I can with it, because a lot of that is my unconfident self from high school trying to be one of the cool kids and awkwardly just doing funny quips to try to make people laugh. Now I kind of figured out post high school those funny quips that can make people laugh and have fun and entertain themselves. So that's what it is more of, is just enjoying what I'm doing, living in the moment of what I'm doing, and just having as much fun as I can with it.
I'm going to add to Jeremy's point. You were on a show that you became the main focal point on an episode where the Ring of Honor World Champion, who hadn't defended his title since July, defended his title on that same episode against Rocky friggin' Romero. People wanted to talk about Cole Radrick taking a face bump more. I love it. That's good stuff.
Yeah, but like, there's a part of me where it's like, is that potentially like a bad thing?
Nah.
That I suck that much out like a thumb?
No, come on.
I don't think so. As you're there to do a job, and you want to make the most of that TV time. That's what everyone gets told. I mean, maybe you were told differently, but in every interview I've ever listened to, it's like, make the most of your TV time, make the most of your TV time. No one remembers guy who comes in there, gets beat in a minute, and just, they do their job well, but that's it. People remember people like you, or if you, I say I remember, and then I can't remember, but I remember selling the Wardlow power bomb where they did like the full on backflip on it. I remember that bump that was taken. Like, this is the stuff that is memorable on there. It was Prime. It might have been like Optimus Prime. Yeah. I know that's a Transformer. But him.
You just have to, like, to me, at the end of the night, I was not going to be able to go to the back and say I did not have fun with it. I did not give it my all. Like, a role is a role, no matter what that role is, no matter whether you're wrestling 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or 15 minutes, you still have one job, and that's to entertain the people. So if you look at something and you only look at it negatively and be like, man, I only have this much time, I only can get to do this much, or I don't get to do this, the chances of getting a positive result out of that negativity is so little. You have to approach things sometimes just saying, let's have fun with it. And I think pro wrestling is best done that way. It doesn't all have to be super serious. I'm a super serious tough guy, though.
That's definitely what I think of when I see you, Cole. The guy who is gonna go in there, trained legit MMA fighter and knocking people out. You could pull that off.
I mean, Rough and Roddy can still hit my line, but whatever.
BLP this weekend.
Yeah.
Talk to us about that. You didn't realize you were booked until I told you.
I did realize. I did. Listen, I am on the slowest 3 weeks since the beginning of COVID right now. I don't know when the last time I wrestled was. All right. I have one show in 3 weeks. I am losing my mind. It is how I keep track of what day it is. Like, I think today's Wednesday.
Yes, allegedly. Yeah, allegedly. Yeah.
All right, it's Wednesday.
In fairness, I will give you a reprieve here. Is when I asked you to be on the show yesterday. I was like, "Hey, want to join us to talk about ROH and then the stuff you have coming up this weekend?" I messaged you at 8:30. We've established you're not a morning person. You're either just going to bed or you've been up for too long. So I messaged you at 8:30. And then you replied at about 9:50 and said, "I don't have anything this weekend." I'm like, "Well, you're advertised for BLP, so I hope you're there." So I will cut you a break of like, it was probably early. You weren't completely, with it. You hadn't got enough sleep and just forgot. I get it.
Honestly, I may have, I was probably that or balls deep in some IHOP at that point. Because I got breakfast at some point yesterday. And I see the Grand Slam breakfast, but that's a Denny's thing, I believe.
Yeah, that's
very
Denny's.
much a Denny's thing. Yeah.
Denny's ruled, but they took out the one in my hometown because it really was awful. So
it's become a caricature of its own like overpriced garbage place now. It used to be better.
Save Steak and Shake. Save Steak and Shake. Stop killing my goddamn Steak and Shake.
Someone send me some Denny's. All right, anybody listen to this? Just send me Denny's. Why?
Don't
advocate for me getting Denny's.
Get IHOP.
All right,
Denny's.
Fine. Send me IHOP. I don't care.
All right, chill out.
Nearest IHOP.
Well, why is he screaming at me, dude?
I don't know. He just loves.
I'm always yelling at the mic. Why is he yelling at the mic?
Always yelling.
Why are you raising your voice?
It's like it's his way of asserting dominance, and we all just laugh when it happens.
Is that what happens?
Yeah, pretty much. Or we argue. I mean, it's one or the other.
Nah. Black Label Pro, Cole. What do you have going on this weekend? Who are you defending the title against? I know.
First round. Cole Radrick versus Sonny Kiss.
Yep.
One of the most badass wrestlers going today, Sonny Kiss. Unfortunately, I got to win that first round. Win the second round. Third round, fourth round, however many rounds. It doesn't matter because the king of Wreckshed Mountain is still going to be the BLP champion at the end of the night. And then I'm going to take that belt to England and then defend it all over the place and then technically become a world champion. Ish.
It counts. Listen, if the Acclaim can go on a trios world tour by defending all over the US but winning it in the UK, then I think Raddy Daddy could do the same thing but invert.
Listen, it's going to happen.
I have a very important question for you. I need the scoop.
Yes, the Colts are better than the Panthers.
All right. Well, that was an easy scoop to get. I hope. Put it in the notes. Jeremy, put it in the notes. We'll run it.
Anthony Richardson, Offensive Rookie of the Year.
There it is. We're going to put that in the notes.
Bryce Young, not even top 5.
So wow. Sonny wasn't originally planned for the show or booked for the show. Recently, in the last few weeks, Sonny was brought in to replace Barry Horowitz. Was there a chance that we were going to see Cole Radrick versus Barry Horowitz?
I could tell you with faith, no.
Well, all right then.
I know. I believe I know who I originally was slated to wrestle, and wow, Barry Horowitz would have been freaking okay. I would have definitely wanted to wrestle Barry Horowitz, but the match I was told I was having was pretty cool too. But me and Sonny Kiss about to be fuego. That's all.
Yeah,
Were you originally
Thank you.
scheduled to wrestle Rob Van Dam? He's doing a lot of comebacks right now.
No, but
Oh,
if me and
that'd be
Rob Van
sweet,
Dam
right?
want to talk about some vitamins and how pretty the trees are, I would love the opportunity. See, we're in the weeds.
Yeah. Have you seen that Rob Van Dam has a lot of orgies on his Instagram?
What?
Yeah. You talk to RVD about orgies and stuff. He's living the life out here.
He's in a throuple, man. He just gets it. The dude, listen, this is the guy that got Impact kicked off of Twitch for like a good solid week because
Is he a Hall of Fame everywhere already?
Oh,
Because
100%.
he needs to be.
100%.
All right. All right.
100%.
And outside of wrestling too, I hope.
Yeah.
Yo.
Rob Van Dam is just one of the best. No matter what you want to talk about, Rob Van Dam's the best at it.
Thank you for your service.
You gotta salute the man. You got to.
Legend.
Absolute legend. Absolute legend. See, you could talk about that with RVD.
See, I mean,
along with some vitamins and
what?
other substances.
Yeah, water.
All right, take another shot at the Panthers and then go back to bed or take a nap or whatever you're gonna do.
You probably should have just kept Sam Darnold as your quarterback.
He's not good.
Baker Mayfield.
Baker's actually playing well.
Listen, my hot take of this year is he's going to finish at the cusp of it, but Baker Mayfield's the top 15 quarterback by the end of the year.
Wow.
As long as they don't trade Mike Evans.
Oh, let's be honest though, Cole. Like I could play quarterback if this is the offense we're running here. Like I can throw a 2-yard check down. That doesn't seem that difficult.
Let Bake cook.
Let everyone know where they can find you at, Cole Radrick.
Wait. We got to talk about Sausage Party first.
Oh, okay.
Jeremy just doesn't like talking to me, Joel. Every time I'm on here, he kicks me off. And see, mind you, I'm here for the long haul. I'm already posted up. I've woken up. I'm angry. I'm tired. I'm hungry. But guess what? I'm here and I'm committed to the bit. As a Fightful outsider reporter that is unpaid, I have complaints that I would like to express. But Jeremy's like, all right, Cole, say where you're from, that you've said every single time that you've been on this show, and get the fuck out.
Do you want to do Taylor Swift puzzles with us? This is what we're doing on this show.
No. What I want to do
is
talk
get
about
out of here. You got to do Taylor Swift puzzles if you want to stick around.
I want to talk about the PWI 500.
Oh, here we are.
All right.
Go.
And here we go. Last year, I committed to something. And I worked and the fruits of my labor have paid off. The PWI Cat Dad of the Year was me. And this year, and I don't know if it was a shot, if I did something wrong, or what may have happened. But in my bio, it is former Cat Dad of the Year, Cole Radrick. And then I've scoured the list. I bought it, okay? I bought it because I wanted to see who won Cat Dad of the Year. Who won Cat Dad of the Year? I can't seem to find it. So they just took a blatant shot and took away the title from me. That is my bone to pick with PWI. Shout out to PWI. I was actually 27 spots up more than I was last year, Mr. 300. How we doing? Keep it moving. But yeah, Sausage Party. First time I ever watched that movie.
Talk more. Hold on. Talk more about
see Joel. Because... like he just doesn't like when I talk.
No, I'm trying to.
It's crazy.
We're gonna get. Hold on. I want to get him. I want to get to Sausage Party, but yeah.
I know. Cool. I like giving Jeremy a hard.
I know, but
work with me here. We're doing a bit.
No, I get it.
I want to get a nice clickbait headline out of this that Cole Radrick buries PWI for taking away his Cat Dad title and just vacating it.
So, I don't understand. So I posted a photo of my cat and I said, official PWI, how am I supposed to explain this to my child? No answer. Then yesterday,
you've contacted them, and
yesterday,
they've given you silence.
Yesterday, I respond to a respected member of the PWI, one of the editors. I responded to him on Twitter, and I said, "Oh, I'm the former cat dad of the year," with a photo of my cat. No response. Just a like.
We're gonna. Oh, that's even worse. That means they saw it.
They
have
just the audacity to like it, but not respond.
I have a cat that I have to explain how I don't put my own little paper ward up on a shelf right next to her cat bed. I have to explain that to her, not you. All right.
We're gonna launch a full-on investigation.
I'm gonna have a full-on meltdown.
You know I'm dumb enough to write an article. I wrote the SpongeBob thing that I'm still got to bully you into running, and I'm dumb enough to write an article about any of this stuff. You want to run a sausage party wrestling event? That might get you canceled, actually.
Not if Matt Brannigan's the winner of every match.
No, because I would be scared of what Matt Brannigan would do.
One could actually argue that any wrestling event is a sausage party if you try.
I will say, me and Matt Brannigan were attached at the hip at the Ring of Honor taping. And I've gotten to know that man in more ways than I would like to. And I would also like to seek a restraining order. Thank you.
Did he tell you about his epic Oreo eating contest against me?
Yeah, he destroyed you.
What? Okay, well, that's false.
What was the official count?
It's an accurate statement.
I think he had 21 and I had 17. I think that was the final tally. Will you participate next year when we do this? Can we get you in on this?
Let's do French fries.
French fries.
Oh, that's already down. I'm in. 1 by 1. Let's do it.
Yeah, that's gonna be like tough to keep track.
1 by 1 marathon. How many boxes? You can't do a handful. You have to go 1 by 1.
Oh, 1 by 1. What kind of fries are we talking here?
McDonald's.
McDonald's fries. Those
are. Or I can settle for Wendy's.
Wendy's are a little bit thicker. McDonald's are really thin.
If all of you had Steak and Shake, we could really put some damage in.
There's a Steak and Shake sort of near where I'm at.
Yeah, but by the time you get the fries. Also, whoever said Reggie Miller is Midge.
That dude, hold on. The guy in the chat who said that, kind of a legend, very funny.
I love him. He's been cracking me up. I'm just responding. I'm not actually shitting on you.
For instance, have you ever wrestled in a place worse than Crown Point, Indiana?
Black Label Pro is this Saturday. It's going to be a great event. You should check it out.
If you've ever wrestled in Ohio, that's got to be worse than you've had
Freetown, Indiana.
Okay, there you go. All right, give us our review of Sausage Party and then go away.
Oh, here you don't want to hear Freetown, Indiana, Joel. Sorry, whatever.
Here I am, a Canadian, just trying to understand all of the nooks and crannies of Middle America, and I can never get that information.
He sets me up for something good, for some good content.
Freetown, Indiana. What is so great about it, or not great?
Again, he cuts me off, and then he takes the X, aims for my kneecap, and puts it dead center.
This is what I deal with every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Don't worry, Jeremy. It's just a flesh wound. Will be able to continue. Freetown, Indiana. My very first show outside of the place I trained at. Ever. So excited. Drive there. It's a 2.5 hour drive. And it's me and the guy I'm wrestling in this car. Same level experience. Our first match outside of our own company. And 6th match ever. We get to the town. And it's a town of 107. And it's just grass, Jeremy. Just farm everywhere, not a building in sight. And as we're driving down this dirt road, we see a barn. And there's no fucking way we're wrestling in this barn, right, Jeremy? No, our GPS is going to say, keep going 5 more miles. And as we come up to this barn, it tells us to take a left. We come up to this barn, it tells us to take a right. And we're wrestling at a barn that for some odd reason has a like basketball court poured inside of it. So it's kind of like an indoor basketball court.
This sounds exactly like Indiana.
And we're now wrestling in Freetown, Indiana. You know what the locker room was? It was a closet. It was a closet that they used to put the chairs in when they ran church there. So we pushed it out.
The church to barn renovation is like a very common thing, I feel.
Very common. It's awesome. Yeah. I love it. Indiana, I love it. It's my favorite state. So all that happens. I'm thinking, wow, I'm not having a great time, but you know what? We're out here. 6 fans show up.
How was the match? 1 fan for every match you've ever had.
Yeah, literally. My match was okay. There was a match later on in the night that was a 6-man scramble that involved a guy doing a front flip off the back of a basketball board in front of 6 fans. There were more people in the match that paid tickets.
How many? Did he get a "This is awesome" chant?
Huh?
Sorry, how many?
"This is awesome" chant?
Go ahead.
No.
How many people live in the city again?
107.
107. So 17.8% of the population came to see you wrestle.
That's pretty good.
Certified draw.
That's pretty good.
Certified draw. Sausage party scarred me the first time I ever seen it. Left me in a dazed state of confusion. I ended up pulling out. I almost said pulling out. Ended up stopping watching the movie. Ended up stopping watching the movie because I had to continue my Madden franchise player. Went for his 3rd straight Super Bowl.
Are you a quarterback?
Come on. Gunslinger, bro.
Yeah, everybody goes quarterback. It's cliche.
Oh, here we go. All right. Go on with your T Swift and your Katy Perry and your Jonas Brother puzzles. I'm out of here.
Cole.
Bye, Cole.
Thank you,
buddy.
Do you want to promote anything before we get out of here, pal?
That's a no.
Content.
Damn shame. Cat Dad of the Year.
Will you be at South Bend for Pat McAfee show on Friday?
Yes.
Fans, you can go see Cole Radrick at the Pat McAfee show, South Bend, Indiana, this Friday.
Pat McAfee, notice me. Love you, brother.
There you go. And of course, go see Cole Black Label Pro and everywhere else he wrestles. He's always fun. Cole Radrick, thank you so much for joining us. Raddy Daddy himself. Appreciate you, pal.
Thank you, pal. Love you.
Love you too. Oh,
great Cole Radrick.
Only we can have the stupidest, best interviews in this entire wrestling world.
I love that Cole comes on, and I just love that he comes on at all. I always appreciate Cole. He comes on, and I know like it's going to be very little wrestling because we didn't even get to UFC, which we could have talked about. I don't even tell Cole it's only 20 minutes because I know that like it's going to go over that anyway. At this point, Cole's a pal of the show. Not to say anybody else. We appreciate every guest who comes on. Some guests we're just here to talk wrestling and go on. Cole is a legitimate friend of the show, and so he's can come on just bullshit banter for however long he needs to. Didn't even talk about when I should have told this story when he was on air. So when I went to GCW a few months ago, the Cease twins were there. Emily and Allie were there, and I hung out with them for a little bit and hung out with Cole after the show. And we go up and I'm like, Cole, we need a picture. And Cole's like, oh, okay, who am I taking the picture with? And we're like, no, we want you to take the picture of us hanging out together. And he's like, he gives me this look and he just puts me in like a headlock. And he's just like, what the fuck, dude? I was like, yeah, I need a picture with my fellow Swifties here. I already got a picture with you. I already took a picture with him. I didn't need another one. So we had him take a picture. So the picture that is, I'm sure it's somewhere on my Twitter, of me, Emily, and Ali Cease, that was taken by Cole Radrick.
I need Cole to come back to Toronto, or at least someplace where I'm at, because I didn't get to like talk to him at the GCW show in Toronto because it was such like a cluster of stuff in that venue. Like it was hard to just if I wanted to professionally talk to talent, that was a whole other can of worms. But then like just trying to find him, I didn't have the same relationship that we have with him now. So I'm looking forward to our next in-person encounter because he's a fun cat. He's a good dude.
You like Cole because he buries me. Usually I get people to bury you and fight you. You like Cole because he is mean to me.
That is a large part of why I like Cole. Yes.
I just sent him a message that said, thank you, love you, buddy. And he replied, bully.
This is the kind of content that we provide here on Fightful Overbooked.
Cole's the best. We appreciate him.
Yes.
I was so happy to see him that he was gonna be doing the match on ROH with Brannigan as well. Brannigan, another pal of the show. Anybody that does Oreo eating contest with me, pal of the show. So I was very happy to see them that they got that booking, and then to see what actually transpired in the match was very fun for someone who's kept up and been kind of sort of friends with them for a little bit. So yeah, it was good. Go back and watch ROH from last week, and it's a 2-minute match. Go watch the match, everybody.
Yeah, exactly. Go watch the match. It's available somewhere. I'm sure of it. It's probably on someone's Twitter account for free.
Probably. I know like the clips and stuff are. All right, Joel. What else are we talking about?
I mean, we still got to talk about Everybody Hates Jey on Raw, and then we got to preview Grand Slam because there's certainly the opportunity to maybe have some surprises at Grand Slam this year. Where do we want to start? Because eventually we'll make a transition over from our WWE talk, because we were talking about Randy Orton, but I think we've kind of gotten pretty far in that, but we don't know anything until something happens with his return. Where do you want to go? We can start with Jey Uso, start with that story, and then move on to Grand Slam.
Yes, that's fine.
All right, Everybody Hates Jey Uso. Your thoughts?
No.
No? Is that okay? Well, Cody likes Jey Uso. Stop it.
I'm doing the Uzi.
I know. The worst part is that while you're doing it, it was also making sounds that made it sound like you were either having a really wet fart or something else.
Maybe it was an Uzi.
God, you're saying the Everybody Hates Chris sequel. It's true. That's why I called it Everybody Hates Jey. This was a really interesting episode of Raw. It's like 3 hours, which is always a little bit difficult if you're watching all 3 hours and the commercials and so on and so forth. But there was some good storytelling in here, and I really did appreciate that Jey Uso has become this like main thread without overtaking the show. And that the story of Jey Uso on Raw has taken over the KO, Sammy, and Cody Rhodes story. It's taken over the Drew McIntyre story, especially as Riddle is just not there right now. So it's good that Drew is still heavily focused on with this with the match that he had with Jey. And of course, it's taken over the Judgment Day story. And the Judgment Day are, of course, starting to cross over onto SmackDown and interact with the Bloodline. So everything kind of starts to intermingle. And Jey is in the middle. Jimmy is slowly integrating himself into the story as well. There's a lot of really good just intertwining. And then we add in what happened on Raw, where at the end of the match, Jey made his decision, and then Drew doesn't get involved to save him. And instead, Cody does the hello Eggman and walks his way to the ring.
It's oatmeal, you jerk.
Well,
Oatmeal today.
why are we breaking from tradition here?
Is there eggs in the oatmeal?
No, there's not. You know what? I'm gonna drop the short summary of what my select story likely will be today.
Okay.
For free?
In
right here?
in
On the
the
show?
private chat and see
Oh.
what you guys think of it.
Okay.
I thought he was about to I thought you were about to type out the entire select post for Facebook.
Absolutely not.
While
That's
you're
not
on the
happening.
air.
That's not happening. You all can blame WrestleOps and the likes for that because we got to make our money.
Fair.
Sean Cole Radrick was burying you about 20 minutes ago.
He was. You're a little late.
Yeah.
It's a bummer. It's a bummer. Man, one day he'll get a reaction like I got at GCW.
The GCW reaction was good.
It was very good.
Yeah. Black
It's
Label
almost-
Pro one.
It's almost like I was at a convention show that had never seen Black Label Pro, and they were 5 hours deep into a travel day already of wrestling, by the way. There's my news I'm going to drop on Fightful Select today, probably.
Some good
That's
news.
big news.
So that's some big important news. I like that.
Yeah. I saw you teasing the contract stuff on Twitter. You know you're not allowed to talk about contracts until like the day before they're
It's
up.
so weird, right? Like,
Yeah.
because I mean, I could have sworn that until a couple weeks ago, people were still like, Joe Burrow, is he going to hold out? And I was like, he's signed for 34 more regular season games. Like, he's not, his deal isn't up until 2025. Meanwhile, earlier this year, I broke that Becky Lynch, her deal was up next year, and people were like, well, that's not news. And I was like, did you know about it before? Then it's news.
It's literally the first 3 letters of the word, and here we are.
Mhm.
Oh,
There
man.
we go. Hope you guys are doing
Sean,
good.
look at my shirt. Look at this custom shirt that I got.
That is honestly a phenomenal shirt.
That's what we said.
The great wrestling news writer from Post Wrestling sent this to me for my birthday.
Did he?
Yeah.
That was really nice of Wei Ting to do that.
It's one of one custom shirt from the GOAT sending me this.
He is wonderful. I wish he'd come back here.
Same.
Like, I have no shame at this point. I just publicly recruit Andrew Thompson from another website.
No, you can't say his name. That's just Sean just spoiled it. Look at Sean giving that away for free.
What? Sorry? I want
we
Andrew
dance
Thompson to
around
work
the
for
name.
us. No, I ain't going to dance around it. I want Andrew to work for us. Even though we are quite literally on a freeze and have been for a while. Listen, got to make it happen. I would love for it to happen.
I agree.
There we go.
Maybe one day. Maybe one day. I'm not taking a pay.
Bye.
Bye, Sean.
Is it because we started talking about money?
Yep. It's the way to get him to go
That's
away.
the way to do it.
When I tell him I'm not taking a pay cut, he's like, oh, well, he's probably going to ask for a raise. Better get out of here.
Well, at least he dropped us a scoop while he's on it. So there's that.
He did. Yeah,
It's gonna
everyone subscribe to Fightful Select, best $5 in the business. And I guess that's coming today. He said it was coming today. So
Yeah.
there you
I'll
go.
put it like this: it will get people talking, and it will get people. It'll get people feeling a certain way. So definitely, and I'm not going to over, I'm not going to oversell it. I just think it's worth it'll be worth the conversation that it has. So let's pivot back to Jey Uso.
Are you saying it's game changing, Joel? That it's
I'm
major league?
It is the. It's the biggest news. We've had a lot of news here, but we haven't had this kind of news. This is the biggest news that we've ever had. We're very excited about our news, and we think that every time we drop a news story, it is the most important news that we've ever had. And by the way, don't forget to tune into AEW Dynamite tonight on TBS. You can still get tickets for Grand Slam. They're available 2-for-1 on Ticketmaster.com.
You went full Tony Khan, which I respect. I appreciate that. I was trying to do like
Oh no, I know
names
what
of
you were doing.
independent companies.
I know what you were
Just
doing.
tease a bunch of different stuff that
If I wanted Major League, I'd call up Court Bauer to come back on the show. Okay.
we're not going to put a black label on this news, everybody.
Oh God. If you want the best news, it's plus, but you don't have to fight for it.
Nah, that was 4 out of 10.
I'm just tired. All right.
Jey Uso.
Jey Uso's back. Jey Uso's here. Stop it. Stop doing that. Stop.
Dude, it's awesome.
Yeah, it gets people doing it. It's just you have to stop doing that from that angle.
Why?
Top down, it feels okay. from that spot. Nope. Don't give me that look. From the way you do
I
it,
like a good top down, Joel.
I can't do this. I can't with you. This is awful. The worst part is that his camera froze right in that facial expression. Someone get a screen cap because he's just done. He said something stupid and he's stuck like that. Let's see if I can I do it too? There, I think I got it. Oh my god. The news will keep you on the edge. This is actually there, he's back. Kind of. Yeah, okay, you're back.
Am I good?
Did you see all of what I just did while you were frozen?
No, I couldn't see any.
Now he's gone. Oh man.
No,
We're back.
see any of that, Joel.
I ain't editing any of this out. Video.
Watch.
Yeah, if you're listening on audio, you got to go back to the hour 35-minute mark.
Hold on. I'm going to watch this live. I'm very curious now.
It's just the timing was perfect.
All right, here we go. All right. Let's see what Joel Pearl did while I was frozen.
Oh, I was just laughing, but I had a good laugh about it.
Very scared of this.
Oh man.
I'm frozen. My face is tremendous. You were just
I didn't notice you were frozen until I looked back up and saw the frozenness. I just I gotta make the face. Someone's got a screen cap it.
I broke you, Joel.
A little bit. Just the timing was right, but you got to stop doing that thing with the Usos. The top down.
Oh, you tried to make the same face. Okay.
Yeah. It worked out pretty well. I think okay. And
There
then
we go. All right.
Anyway.
What are we talking about?
Talking about the Usos, talking about Drew McIntyre and the potential of this, starting to show some hints of a potential turn. He was definitely conflicted. Cody Rhodes comes out. He does the SpongeBob walk on his way to save his pal Jey. And of course, again, the idea that Jey Uso is all over, his fingerprints are all over every story, every major story on Raw without being immersed completely in every segment. And I like that. What do you think of Raw and the everybody hates Jey story as a whole as it persists?
I like the story. I've liked it since really Jay's been on Raw. It's nice that there is some continuity on this. Drew McIntyre shouldn't just be hey, sure, Jay's here. Cool, great. Not only is there continuity, but they are tying it together. It could easily just be ignored, right? Jey could just be there off in his own separate universe, nothing happened, and not interacting with Drew, not interacting with Sammy, Kevin, or any of this stuff. But no, these people did not forget what happened. I like that Judgment Day is trying to recruit him and being hey, come hang out with us. Damian Priest, who sounds like Vin Diesel. I love his promo of, this is family. Big, fast vibes from me. Yeah, the blood, no, I ain't worried about that. This is real family right here. I thought that was great. Again, big, fast vibes with Damian Priest just trying to recruit Jey into the family. I think it's good. I like that Raw has this theme going and this hook going. I understand that ratings are what they are just because of friggin' Monday Night Football, but I think if you're tuning into Raw, you're getting something to kind of sink your teeth into a little bit, and then compared to what's happening on SmackDown with the Bloodline, where they're spinning their wheels with stuff.
Monday Night Footballs.
Yeah, both those games sucked.
Yeah, and it's very interesting that 2 weeks in a row now with Monday Night Football, it's been the games suck, but something major happened. And unfortunately, they're both injury related and they took away from the games. So that they take away from the game, but they keep the viewership is what I'm getting at. So stuff like that, it's very strange to me that's happened now 2 weeks in a row.
People love football, man.
I get that people love football. I also get that, if a game is just not good, if the game was just not good and the injuries didn't happen, do you think that people would have still watched the games?
Yes.
To the end? Yeah.
Because people love football.
Okay. Listen, I'm not gonna question that, because I went to a CFL game. I understand they're different, but football and me are not friends. I made it to the third quarter and I was like, I tap out. I'm out. Doesn't do it for me.
Even if like the games aren't good, but they're competitive, people will watch it. Because when Rodgers got hurt last week, I thought people would just tune out. I'm like, oh, well, who cares? This game has lost a lot of its marquee value because the top quarterback, the person that everyone wanted to see is now injured 4 plays into the game. But the game remained competitive. So people kept watching. If the Bills just ended up just blowing them out 30-0, yeah, people would have tuned out. But the fact that it remained competitive, even though last week's game wasn't terrible, these past 2 games sucked. Like, I watched what I could of the Panthers game, and it was just boring football. The Browns and Steelers was like kind of hilarity in how bad it was. But if the games are competitive, people will watch. It's when they're not competitive that they will just, all right, okay, done with it. It can be bad, but a bad competitive football game is going to draw more than a lot of things on television.
Yeah, I can get behind that. I just found a hole in my Jody Threat shirt, and that really made me sad.
I'm
Anyway,
sorry.
I know it's very upsetting. Anyway, yeah. So going back to the Jey Uso stuff, yeah. Ratings aside, it does kind of suck that people aren't necessarily watching live, but I'm hoping that they're catching up in other ways, because it's a really good story that seems to have legs. And again, it crosses over to SmackDown as well, because you've got Jimmy Uso trying to infiltrate the bloodline again, while the Judgment Day seem to be trying to recruit Jimmy Uso at the same time. That's a totally different can of worms, but in the same doghouse of the story. What do what's more appealing to you? Like Jimmy making friends with the bloodline, or is Jey, actively trying to make everyone a believer? Like, they're two different stories, but who's really shining here?
Oh, Jey. Again, the Jimmy stuff is, I feel, just spinning their wheels with everything. It feel like, okay, he's now got to prove himself to the bloodline. Did he not do that when he cost Jey the title? I understand he's like, oh, well, I only did it because I don't want you to be a bitch, an asshole like Roman is, but he's still proving himself with all of this. The Jey stuff, just especially when Roman's not around, because he's the big dog, right? So when it's just Jimmy, who, let's be honest, of Jimmy's place, he has not been put on that pedestal that Jey has. Main event Jey Uso. Jimmy has been, throughout this entire story, the secondary player, the secondary Uso. Solo has had a nice role, but even he has been more of the background person compared to Roman and Jey. I think Heyman could do a little bit more on SmackDown, because he's always been in the spotlight of this. Yeah, remorse betrayal. Like I said, Jimmy needs Roman around to get further. He does. That's how it's kind of been presented. He's not been put up there to a level that Jey has throughout this entire story. So when Jey goes over to Raw, one, he's getting to interact with Cody, who obviously feels like a big deal. There's the Sammy and Kevin stuff, which was the biggest thing. Like, that revitalized the bloodline late last year. So they can continue to tell those stories. Jimmy kind of needs Roman around to feel a little bit more elevated. Now, with Cena, with AJ, I'm willing to give that a shot, because Cena's obviously a big star. AJ has the cachet throughout the years. So maybe they can do a little bit more with it moving forward. I do think this past Friday on SmackDown was a better step than what we saw previously with Jey, where it really felt like they were spinning their wheels.
Yeah, I kind of get what you're saying, and you're right. It feels like it's spinning their wheels, but at the same time, there was some movement this week on SmackDown. But of course, The Rock had to come back, so that's
where was Jimmy during that? They should have done a Jimmy, but then you're going to tease the fans of what's happening, and they didn't want to do that.
And then that's where I think they did a good job of not talking about Bloodline or anything like that. If you really want to turn it back on its head, if they decide that The Rock is going to be a part of WrestleMania season, then yeah, Roman comes back and he's like, I saw that The Rock was here and he didn't acknowledge me or any of my family. And then you can start there. But instead, he just ignored it and we moved
I
on.
think you got to do that regardless when Roman
Really?
comes back. Oh, yeah. Even if you're not going to be able to deliver on it, I think you got to do it just to, one, boost Roman a little bit, because I think it's stupid of Roman to not mention, and Roman's smarter than that. The character, the television character Roman, and the person Roman Reigns is smarter than that to just be like, oh, Rock was here. Let me just not mention this at all. I think you mention it because then you're putting the heat on The Rock as well. Roman ain't losing anything from this. You put the heat on The Rock of like, he was here, he didn't acknowledge me, just like he hasn't done for years. And then you're putting the heat on The Rock of like, hey, Dwayne, show up.
The problem is, though, you're then setting an expectation with fans who tend to, as we talk about, overplay and book themselves into believing that it's going to happen and that it's a letdown. They don't.
Rock set that own damn expectation when he said that he was open to doing the match.
But
so
he
lean into it.
Yeah, but he did that on McAfee's show, and they didn't really talk about that on,
which gets more viewers than SmackDown.
I understand that, but I'm talking in canon in the WWE universe, quote unquote, where things are completely out. They're its own world. He didn't say that there. Therefore, it doesn't exist. It's not canon. And therefore, you bring it up. That's when it becomes part of a story. Other than that, if you bring it up, people are going to start freaking out more so than Rock singing on McAfee's show.
Joel, who is going to start freaking out?
Oh, fans will, but they'll fantasy book their way through it. But then if it doesn't happen, which it probably wouldn't, they would get upset.
Okay, which fans?
The ones, the hardcores, the ones who do this, not us, because we set expectations, but like the people who we know those voices, the minority, as they call them, the loud minority,
the same fans that listen to The Rock on Pat McAfee's show when he said, well, I was locked for 39 and I'm open to 40. Those fans are going to freak out.
And also fans who just go to the shows, they hear it, they'll think about it. If they only consume WWE content from a WWE source, then let's say those fans as well.
They're going to think about it and they're going to be like, where's The Rock? Why?
Yeah,
he's being a bitch
doesn't show
and not
up.
showing up. Good. That's what Roman should be doing as the heel. He should be putting that heat on The Rock.
But in storytelling 101, just like in a wrestling match, you introduce the table, you have to use the table. You can't introduce The Rock in this capacity and not deliver on The Rock.
He's not introducing The Rock. He is commenting. He is commenting on something that happened on television. The Rock showed up, did not acknowledge him. Roman is commenting on that, as he should, because he's not a dummy.
But he's adding a plot point or beginning a plot point to a story that might not exist. And
so instead, you just want him to come out there and act like The Rock never showed up?
Yeah, because he was on vacation, and we know that Roman doesn't watch the damn product.
No. He's gotta mention him because the heat's not on him.
I agree.
The heat's not on him to the hardcores.
Fans.
The Rock's already teasing the fans by saying this shit. The fans that care, the fans that pay attention, he's already teasing them. Roman is simply acknowledging that The Rock did not acknowledge him, which he should do. If you want to create your own expectation off of that, that's your fault.
If WWE played the segment from Pat McAfee's show where The Rock says that he was going to be at 39 or that he wants to be at 40, then it's fair game and we're part of the play and this is happening. If it's not happening directly on their program, then it's not part of the show. Then it's not part of a storyline. It's not building out. The stuff that happens outside of it very, very, very rarely gets used in the actual storylines on TV. You bring out Roman and he says, oh, Rock was here. He didn't acknowledge me. Well, guess what? Now you're creating friction. But if that friction doesn't have a payoff of a storyline, then you're not making a good choice because you need to pay off the friction and therefore build the storyline. Just saying, oh, he didn't acknowledge me. That's not good enough. That's not good enough. People can see it offline. It's just like Montez Ford and Bianca showing up at an award show. They're not then actively teaming together or on camera together doing stuff with Bobby Lashley. We're not there. That's not happening. Therefore, it doesn't exist in WWE world. We know the reality, but the WWE land is different.
The Rock showed up when Roman wasn't there. Roman, as the tribal chief, as the head of the table, as the talk of The Rock is always in the background somewhere, has got to mention this. If they can't deliver on it, then are fans going to be disappointed? Yeah, the fans who are already going to be disappointed because of what Rock said, or the fans who are already going to be disappointed because they look at the lightning bolt on the Royal Rumble poster and it's like, is that a sign of The Rock? The electricity? Is this was a real fucking thing?
I do remember this. This was 2021, I think.
No, this was this year.
This was this year?
This year.
Where were they for 2022?
This was this year, 2023.
Oh, where were they for 2023?
Remember? Look I'm going to pull up the Royal Rumble 2023 poster.
No, I know what you're talking about. It was at the Alamo Dome. It was in Texas. Okay.
Yeah,
I remember.
Lightning bolt.
Yeah,
people were like, the lightning bolt, the electricity, they're going to do their own shit with this. Roman, as the tribal chief, as the head of the table, the character, Roman Reigns, where people know about the bloodline. They know The Rock is part of the bloodline and part of the origin and part of all of this. If Roman Reigns does not acknowledge that The Rock was there and that he was not acknowledged, I think that's a failure on Roman Reigns' part. He's got to, even if it is just, you can even have Heyman say something. Just Heyman, it can be a throwaway thing, but it's got to be touched on just to show that, yeah, The Rock was there, because it ain't on them. It ain't on Roman and Heyman. They're the ones showing up sometimes. They're the ones showing up for this. And they got to at least mention it. You got to call The Rock a bitch, basically, on television and get that extra heat on you by calling him a bitch. Because the only people that are going to be mad, Joel, are the people who are going to be mad anyway. Those are the only people that are going to be mad. The casual fans who show up to the arena and watch the show, they're not going to be mad if Rock shows up. They're going to be mad at Roman, the wrestling character, which is fine. Let them be mad. That's the point of this. Let them be mad at the wrestling character, Roman Reigns, for mentioning The Rock in this light and chanting for The Rock, because their wrestling fans are going to go to the show. The only people who are going to be actually mad of like, whoa, why'd they do this? Why is The Rock? Where's The Rock? Are the fans that are going to see a Rock in the driveway when they maybe go outside and touch grass and be like, why isn't Dwayne here? Those are the fans that are going to be mad.
I see your point, but I stand by mine that if you're dealing with storytelling 101 in WWE, it is you introduce it when you have a plan to use it. And if you don't have a plan to use it, then you're kind of honey-dicking the fans by not playing it off. But like, I see what you're saying, and I don't disagree with you in the idea that like you will probably service the fans a little bit better by at least having some sort of canon and having some sort of reaction to something you missed during your summer vacation. But I don't see the reason to keep to do something like that in the WWE scope of things.
When you do it once, I'm not saying this has got to be, unless you can get him.
Right. Then you do it every week if you got The Rock going.
Yeah. You do it once and that's it. And then you move on from it. I understand you don't want to introduce it because that was the Vinceism, right? You introduce it and then you feel like you got to deliver. Like they never fucking did that anyway of mentioning things and then not delivering on it. Like they do that all the time anyway. Two, I also think we live in a new age of storytelling where you can do this and it doesn't raise the expectation of every single fan. It raises the expectation of the fans who already have their expectations raised. And The Rock has already done that. And that's my other point, by the way. This is not a CM Punk elite situation where CM Punk's out there trying to shoot himself into a work with all of these comments, because nobody else from the other side was saying anything on this. The Rock, had he not done any Pat McAfee appearance or anything like that, had he just showed up randomly on SmackDown and done this, I'd probably be a little bit more, okay, maybe don't try to create that expectation. Rock's already done this to the fans that are going to have the expectations anyway by making those comments on McAfee's show.
I agree with everything you say, and then I remembered that Vince McMahon is back in the fold, so storytelling does not change.
I mean,
I agree, but we are in a new world of storytelling. We should be, in a lot of ways we are, and that's some of the things that I enjoy about other wrestling companies and other wrestling programs, is that they will use outside sources to tell their stories, and that's okay. Again, there's no right way to tell a wrestling story. There's no right way to tell a story in TV. Just make sure you pay everyone appropriately. So we'll move along from that. Let's talk Grand Slam. We're already over time. So I mean, we're going to talk in depth about Grand Slam on Friday, I'm sure. And I know that you and Steven Jensen will talk about it on the Spotlight this coming Thursday on the main channel. But just standout matches, things that you're really looking forward to. Are we going to see a big surprise? And what's the big surprise, Jeremy? Who's showing up?
I mean, so what are the teases? Edge, right? That's the
Jericho had some words. He was asked about Edge, and he said he'd like to see Edge show up and reinvent himself.
So that's one tease. I've seen Mandy Rose be thrown around. I don't know if you've seen that one.
No, but I'm not surprised. But again, Saraya, it's 1 year past her debut at last year's Grand Slam.
Yeah. So those are the two names that I've seen the most, is Edge and Mandy Rose. Is there anybody else that maybe could possibly appear that you've kind of heard bantied about, Joel?
You've got the Mercedes Moné conversation again.
Yeah.
And, you know, Tony had said that she's not going to be cleared, but also Wrestle Dream's coming up, and she's still technically having dates, maybe not dates with New Japan Pro Wrestling, but regardless, she's not officially signed anywhere. Would she want to be signed to All Elite Wrestling if the opportunity came up? What would that look like? That's another one that comes up. Who's going to be next for Jon Moxley? Do you bring someone in big for that, for the International Championship? Who faces Orange Hook? Honestly, it's probably just going to be 2.0. But
it is. It's too.
They did announce it. Okay, I know they made the challenge. I don't know if they.
Well, it's a mixed trios. You got Anna and Stat as well.
Oh, I'd forgotten about that.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. Okay. Rampage was kind of a blur this week.
Well, that wasn't on Rampage. That was on a digital exclusive gimmick anyway.
Oh, I thought it's set up on Rampage.
Oh, did that segment air on Rampage?
I think the 2.0 thing started. They did it on Rampage, and then Orange Hook were like, "Let's team up on Collision," and then I guess there was something else. I don't know. It's all. The days are weird, Jeremy. Days are weird. But if it's a trio,
regardless, I wrote the article that the challenge was 2.0 and Anna against Orange Hook and Stat.
And then you've got the Ring of Honor 6-man tag team championship match.
Well, that's Rampage.
That is Rampage, but it's still part of Grand Slam. Sure. We'll talk more about that on Friday. But yeah, those are the big names being bandied about. Edge, and then Mandy Rose. That's kind of a new one to me. And of course, Mercedes Moné is always there. Would Mandy Rose fit? Would she make sense? Is there room for that character? Is that a good trade-off for someone like Jade Cargill, who's, you know, potentially on her way to WWE? Does it work for you?
I think Mandy, especially by the time her NXT run was over, had grown as a character, as a performer, as a wrestler, and became, you know, very good in NXT. How she fits in AEW, I don't know. I think it'll work. She shut down her fan time site, by the way, Bonkers LFC, and that's kind of why people are maybe talking about Mandy Rose. And she mentioned that she might be a free agent soon. So I think that's why Mandy Rose's name has kind of been mentioned. It's tough. What's up, Joel? What's that face for?
Well, first of all, does AEW allow? Yeah, they still allow people to make money outside of their wrestling. But also, if Mandy did shut down her fan time, I didn't know that, by the way. Then me,
Jeff Eller Driver says she just moved to OnlyFans.
Oh, she moved to OnlyFans. Okay, fine. So she moved to OnlyFans. Then my point's moot. I was going to say, you know, the talk of her coming back to any wrestling entity. If I'm Mandy Rose, I'm going back to WWE because of the Endeavor, Jade Cargill wanting to act, that whole conversation that you and I already had, because the opportunities to do non-wrestling stuff is much bigger at a place like Endeavor right now. So that was kind of the point. But if it's OnlyFans, then sure.
It's weird seeing, or it's weird thinking of how Mandy fits in AEW. I think it'll work. Mandy's a big enough star. It certainly has the presence, but then it just goes back to the women's division booking conversation all over again anyway. And do you want to just keep introducing more talent in that, especially if it's going to be full-time talent, which I assume Mandy will be. Mercedes, I keep saying it doesn't feel like she's going to be a full-time person. And maybe that's why it does make sense that she shows up. She shows up, she faces Saraya, Tony, whoever wins, confronts them, and then they do the match at Wrestle Dream. And then, is Mercedes losing her first match back, or does she win the title? Is it a tag match? What does that look like? I still think Mercedes has unfinished business in like Stardom and New Japan. And so she's going to mainly spend her time there.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with that. It's, I don't know, the Mandy Rose thing just has me thinking, but also I don't know, I don't think that's the person I would bring in necessarily, but I could be wrong. And then of course the big question: what main events tonight?
Well, Edge, real quickly,
Sure.
let's say Edge is there. How are you introducing him?
Jon Moxley's first opponent for the international title. That's a good question. You'd have to. You don't want to bring him in on Rampage because that's where the Christian Luchasaurus Darby Allin Sting matches, but also, man, that's the perfect fit. Just in terms of the talent, in terms of the people, like Edge in there would just make the most sense. But you can have them jump in at any point with those guys.
Do you just do a segment then on like Dynamite with Luchasaurus, Darby, Nick, or not? I mean Nick, sure. Sting, Christian, like it's some type of segment, and then Edge comes in, and then that also sets him up to be on Rampage. But you get the live pop.
So one thing I said was that when they set up the match last week, they had a long, hard shot at Luchasaurus going off of that segment, and I was just like, I don't think he's making it to the match with the amount of just like facial expression. It was almost like, enjoy Luchasaurus now, kids. He's not going to be in this match on Wednesday, but I could be wrong. Maybe I'm just reading into it. You can do a Christian and Edge, Darby Allin and Sting as a huge Rampage, promotional tool. Because right now your other matches are, the Hung Bucks match is probably the other big thing. The Acclaimed are very over, but not to the extent of like I think the Acclaimed are really good at the live crowd loving them and going to see them, but they're not the draw for the TV watcher. You know what I'm trying to say?
Okay.
Yeah, you'll pop for the Acclaim live, you'll enjoy the rap and the scissor and all that stuff, but I don't know if it's the reason you tune into a show. Whereas, the Hung Bucks, again, the Elite will always have those are hardcore fans, the ardent fans, they'll tune in for them. But if you give me Christian and Edge for the first time teaming up in AEW on Rampage, let's CM Punk versus Powerhouse Hobbs from 2021. That was a Rampage match. That got people to tune in for Rampage. So just something, and of course the Homicide, debut and all that. There's an opportunity to make this Rampage bigger and then just carry it over to the next episode of Dynamite. I don't know if Edge is going to go to, Grand Rapids the next, that Saturday and do something. If anything, I'd hold him off until the next episode of Dynamite. But I don't know. Edge seems like the right choice for the big debut, but I don't know if it has to be on Dynamite. Maybe it's just big enough that, MJF and Mimosa Joe are going to have a good match and something will come out of it that leads to Wrestle Dream for MJF and possibly for Joe. And then, of course, Claudio and Eddie, and everyone's really invested in the potential of Eddie Kingston winning the Ring of Honor World Championship. But there's also a strong possibility that Claudio is about to take the New Japan Strong Openweight Championship and go to Japan for a spell and have some good matches. Maybe even work the Las Vegas shows, when New Japan comes over next month. So I don't know. There's enough on the card that maybe you don't need a big debut. You can maybe work to a return. I don't know who could be coming back from injury right now, but the opportunities are there.
So before you did this thumbnail with Grand Slam surprise on there, I didn't even think of any type of return or surprise on this. I did. I didn't think of Edge. Like, I didn't think of Mandy until I saw the thing came out, and then I really didn't think of Mercedes, honestly. But I know AEW has kind of set the expectation for that, and that's not their fault, mind you. Like they're booking their shows as they come, right? But I understand they've kind of set the expectation for this. I'm not expecting it. I'm not expecting any type of surprise when it comes to this. You know, at some point they're just not going to deliver on these big type of surprise thing. And I think this just might be the time where it doesn't happen.
And that's fair. I'm also going to point out tradition.
I know, but here's where, again, this is where the expectation gets set. Who they have the first year? Who was the big surprise? Last year was Saraya.
I guess technically you can say that, Homicide showing up during that Rampage Lights Out match, that was a surprise.
That was on Rampage though. Like,
yeah, but it still existed.
Yeah, but they didn't have like a big surprise during. Like that was just they gave you Omega and Danielson. That felt. I mean, that was yeah, that was the big thing. But yeah, there wasn't, and you got CM Punk's first like television match again, Rampage thing there. But they didn't give you like a big surprise on that show, unless Rosario Dawson. I think she was part of that, right?
Last year?
No, 2021.
No. That was the
Cody faced Malachi at Grand Slam in 2021.
Yes.
Yeah, was Rosario not part of that match?
I don't think she was.
Oh, was that like before? Okay.
That was later. Because I'm trying to think also, I thought for a second that it was MJF, that it was Rhodes and Pillman Jr., but it was MJF versus Pillman Jr.
Yeah.
That was a weird match. Anyway, sorry. I'm looking at the results from 2021, just being like, was there anything special other than Homicide?
Yeah, so I don't think there is a tradition of having a big surprise here. I just think that it could just be matches. Like it could just be matches.
And again, like last year, 2022, that was the big surprise with Saraya, like we talked about. And when did Taya show up? That was later too.
Yeah.
That wasn't really a surprise. Oh, that was Winnipeg. That was the
Muda was the Rampage. So they do more surprises on Rampage.
I just come into Rampage. Here we go. Yeah. No, I bring it up because in the last few years they have had they've done something. They call this their biggest Dynamite of the year and yada yada. But this is one spot. Honestly, the only other place that if Edge is going to AEW, the only other place I would do it is the Montreal shows, because Canada. It's not Toronto, but it's Canada. It's the closest they're going to be to Toronto for the rest of the year, if not the first quarter as well. That's the only other spot I would do it. And you're probably going to have a big sold out Montreal crowd for that. Or Edge would be in the main event of whatever show is in Montreal, for that. So the possibilities are there, but we also don't know if that's going to happen. We won't.
I'm not raising my expectations for any type of surprise tonight. If something happens, cool. I'm not expecting any type of surprise though. The biggest surprise would be Eddie Kingston winning, because I'm not expecting that either, because Tony likes to fuck on me and doesn't want Eddie Kingston to ever be a champion.
I don't think Eddie's winning now. I still stick with Final Battle being the moment. That's where I'm at.
You got to do it in New York. Is Final Battle in New York?
Final Battle's going to be at New York in the Manhattan Center, like old.
Yeah, I was about to say we're Homicide. Yeah.
Let's bring that back. So who knows? I can't think of anywhere else they could run again if they keep loading up Ring of Honor with like main champion or main AEW champions like the Hung Bucks again potentially tonight. Then you could run it at like UBS. You could do UBS Arena, because who's the tag champion right now? It's basically just going to be an AEW event at that point.
You can't do it at UBS Arena.
Why not? MJF, the tag titles?
Against who?
Who cares? But you're right, against 2.
Yeah,
The right-
you got to actually have like some type of big match there. Nah, they can't run UBS and get like a great crowd for an ROH show. And Manhattan Center is cool because you want to talk about tradition like that.
Yeah.
That at least pays some tribute to the old ROH. Eddie should win tonight. I think that should open the show. I think that's the best opener choice, especially if Eddie is going to win. Or if Eddie's going to lose, go ahead and tell the crowd you're getting fucked all night and get it out of the way early instead of making them stick around throughout the show. And then MJF and Samoa Joe close, and I assume MJF wins.
Could you imagine if they make you wait till the main event to have Eddie not win the main event?
They better have something. They better have Edge for
Yes.
Rampage at that point.
Yeah, that's when Edge shows up and he's like, I didn't sign with AEW. I signed with New Japan Pro Wrestling, and I will be in Las Vegas at the end of October. Anyway, we'll see what happens. It's gonna be a fun night. It's gonna be a good Grand Slam. Looking forward to it. And again, just go and watch it and enjoy the wrestling, whatever that is.
No,
Let's get on out of here. Okay, no, we got to complain about it on the internet.
yeah,
Okay.
no, don't just watch it and enjoy it. Wait until tomorrow and see what the rating is and see if it cracks 1 million viewers. And if it doesn't, it's a failure of a show.
Got a writer's strike, got an actor's strike. Everything should be 4.8 million in the wrestling world right now.
Joel, we gotta do a Taylor Swift puzzle.
No, it's 20. It's 20 after 12. I'm done.
Promise the people. We'll do one puzzle, Joel.
Okay, fine.
You'll be okay. You'll survive.
Will I? I don't know.
Yeah. Everybody see my screen?
Very
Google.
confused. I got very confused. I see your screen.
All right, Taylor Swift. So apparently, if you just put in Taylor Swift, this little vault pops up in the corner here. You see this, Joel?
Yep.
Yeah. So you click it.
Oh, look, you did it. You unlocked the 1989 Taylor's version vault. And now I am so excited to share the new vault track titles with you. They are Is It Over Now?
Okay.
Now That We Don't Talk.
These are the names of the tracks.
Say Don't Go.
These are the vault titles on the track.
Suburban Legends.
Ooh.
Can't wait for you to hear them.
All right, here we go. We're going to do, all right, First Stop. What is it, Joel? What's the answer? Seems pretty easy.
Tokyo?
Yeah, Tokyo. How do I do this? Oh, submit your answer. Okay,
Just
so I
type
guess
it.
I type it here. Tokyo. There we go. Look at that. All right, one puzzle solved.
Wow.
35 million puzzles, Joel.
This is next puzzle, I guess.
Next puzzle. Let's see. What do we got here? The wife is very upset. Lucky.
13.
I think it's 13. That makes sense. All right, let's type in 13. Oh, look at that, Joel. You're doing good, buddy.
This is very upsetting that I know this.
All right, next one. Caption.
Right something? Right catch? No.
Right catch?
No, it's not that, but it's caption.
Caption.
I think the first word is right, or one of the words is right.
Okay. Does the chat have any
Yeah,
have any
feel free to-
thoughts?
I'm trimming
this?
this out of the audio, but you know,
Why can't it be catch?
it could be catch.
Catch, yeah. Thoughts there.
Yeah,
Act thought.
don't think that's it.
No.
I thought. I have no idea.
Got a thought.
No, it can't be got a
No.
thought because we use the
Okay.
G.
We use the G in thought. We don't use the C.
No, but I'm saying if you use got a thought,
Oh, right.
the
Gotcha.
G's already been used.
Oh, it does. So it's got to be got a and then TH, because I'm pretty sure the different little puzzles give you what it is.
Yeah, I get it.
Okay, so what's this word here?
Oh man, this sucks. God,
Come on, Joel. Let's get to 5. We're gonna do 5 puzzles.
5? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, we're gonna do, well, figure these out, and we'll go much quicker. Got a haircut? Let's type that in. A haircut.
Oh, it actually might be got a haircut.
There you go. Good job, person in the
Okay.
chat. All right.
Oh, it's a song title.
2 more.
Luigi. No.
Smashing.
Pumpkins. No, sorry.
Golf club.
Golf club. Yeah.
All right, folks. Last one. Last puzzle. Here we go, everybody. Oh, a game of cat and mouse.
Vol.
Evil.
Evil.
Love is evil. Spell it backwards. There we go. Love. Let's end on love, everyone.
Look at that. We did it.
The wife was doing these.
Oh.
She was so mad.
Rightfully so.
So mad at this. He said, when I tried to answer it, just went to Google page for New York. I don't understand this shit. Baby, the answer was New York City. You probably just typed in New York. And so that is why you did not get the answer. Then she apparently tried it again. As we were doing this, she said, that's an easy one. I didn't get easy shit. This is fucking bullshit. Fuck all this.
Oh,
I
man.
got one. She's very happy that she finally got one. She said, I typed in New York City. Well, maybe the Googles just doesn't like you. Maybe. I'm
I
sorry.
get it. I get it.
All right, everybody.
Hold on.
Taylor Swift puzzles.
Yeah.
Everyone Google Taylor Swift and start your puzzle adventures.
Yes, go do that. Can we get this off the screen now?
No, it's love.
Okay. I just wanted to show everyone this. So Cole Radrick's wearing today.
Look at him. Look at that beautiful
Look
man.
at that. Look at
That
that.
Tommy Pickles t-shirt too. That's dope.
That does rule.
Yeah.
Anyway, good for him. Having a good day. Jeremy, plug the stuff. Let's go home.
Don't follow me on Twitter. Follow Cole Radrick on Twitter. I don't know his Twitter, but follow him regardless.
Isn't it just Raddy Daddy?
Nah, it's
It's Cole Radrick. It's
yeah.
actual Radrick.
Follow Cole Radrick on Twitter at Cole Radrick.
Goes under Raddy Daddy. Anyway, we're back here on Friday as we always are. We get in the weeds at 10 a.m. Eastern. We'll be talking about Grand Slam and everything that comes with it. And I'm sure there will be some news that we're going to talk about as well, because that's just what happens here on In the Weeds, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, 10 a.m. Eastern. I am at Joel Pearl, JoelPearl. Ladies, gentlemen, friends beyond the binary. We will see you in the next one. Cheers.